April 1805. Napoleon is master of Europe. Only the British fleet stands before him. Podcasts are now podcasts.
Podcasts are now podcasts?
Podcasts are now podcasts.
No, I think it has got to be podcasts are now battlefields or oceans are now podcasts.
Which one is it?
I think it's oceans are now podcasts.
Oceans are
You
now
can't
podcasts.
put podcasts for both. But there is a lot you could do. Like one must always choose the lesser of two podcasts.
You just said there's only one thing I could do.
I think that's the thing.
And I tried to throw you off the hump by putting podcast in two places to make you annoyed.
Joe Rogan is master
I would
of
like
podcasts.
to, at the start of this episode, ask you to try and not make me annoyed on this episode, please. That is a sincere request from me. Okay?
I am not intending to make you annoyed on this episode.
Okay. Well, I want to make that sincere request. This is a movie that really matters to me, and I don't want you to be antagonistic.
Real Aubrey Maturin.
Okay, there is a real dynamic.
I want that right on the record to start this episode.
I'm not trying to do any negging. You just
said he tried to make me annoyed.
We don't have time for your damn hobbies, man.
The one thing.
You said there's only one thing I could do.
Well, I mean, I do feel like I'm wearing it right now.
You
wearing
are.
I feel like that is because it's the opening.
Sure.
Because like it's the most.
Sure.
But then I was like, but of course there are so many great lines, and I didn't want to discount.
And I love your Admiral hat.
There are no admirals in this movie, Ben.
Oh boy, here we go.
Is this one of your 10 favorite movies of all time?
Yes, I think it is, and I think I should just like next time I do Sight and Sound, stop being like, oh, I love some important movie. Should just fucking put this on there.
Because why is this not an important movie?
It is. This is what I'm saying.
Before we started recording, you said maybe this is the most.
I think it's the most important movie to me.
Last night you texted like the best movie ever made.
This is, isn't it? Is it not?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I'm very self-conscious about being here, I must say.
Oh, you're worried because you're like, I don't,
You don't feel worthy.
I'm not worthy.
Some weeks ago, as the Peter Weir thing was just getting started in my feed, I had lunch with J.D. Amato.
The great J.D. Amato.
The great J.D. Amato.
And I'm willing to say this, past and future guest.
That's a big...
Oh, yeah?
It's a big, that's a big
JD will
promise.
come back?
He was on just last week, and he'll come back again.
Good, because he's waiting outside.
Oh, right.
Come on in.
He was just on the show in chronology.
And I said to JD, we were talking about all kinds of things. You know.
Oh, actually, you know what? Embarrassing for you?
Mandalorian and Grogu.
It's in between. Fuck! So Gethard was right. But JD was on 2 weeks
I regret to inform you, it is in fact the Mandalorian and Grogu.
So I really?
I was gesturing to Grogu.
Somewhere there is Grogu.
Yeah.
In this
He's down there.
In this palace of secrets and delights.
I'm sure we got a Grogu somewhere.
You gotta get a Grogu in here somewhere.
There's gotta be a Grogu, right?
You know there isn't, and I've been surveying the landscape recently. I'm like, does there need to be some Grogu representation in this office? And if there is, what's the one? I don't know if you know this. It's a very merchandised character.
Oh, you're kidding.
There's too many Grogu items.
Too many Grogus?
So I'm trying to pick the one. But I'm sorry, you were getting lunch with the great J.D.
So I
Amato.
was having lunch with J.D. Amato. We were talking about a lot of things. And I mentioned I'm excited about this Peter Weir thing.
Yeah.
Because I love Peter Weir.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all the movies.
Yeah.
But I mean, and a lot of them I hadn't seen since they came out because I'm elderly. And I'm realizing now I was quite a weird child. I remember seeing Gallipoli when it came out.
Yeah.
Or maybe a couple of years after.
But you would have been a teenager.
I would have been like 12 or 13.
Right.
But this is a man who
why was I going to see The Year of Living Dangerously?
I was going to say, this is a man who feels aligned with your sensibilities and makes movies that are aligned with your interests. Is that fair to say?
My interest as a 12-year-old was definitely Sigourney Weaver. So that
but I
cracked
mean,
the code as
not
to why
call
I
you
saw
out, but you were also, a bit of a
weirdo,
a nerdy fella.
I was a pretentious
something
only child.
historical, right? Might have interested you.
But I said to J.D. Amato, I can't wait till they get to Master and Commander, and I wonder who the guest will be.
You didn't
and JD said, I don't know if anyone will because it may be David's favorite movie. It's one of David's favorite movies.
We did Spirited Away.
Yeah.
That's in that conversation.
This is the exercise I wanted to do.
Never done Alien, but we did on
Patreon. We did on Patreon. I was thinking through our respective 10 favorite movies of all time, and I feel like we have covered most of our list, the majority. And then the question is, what are the outliers?
We haven't covered a lot of what I would call my favorite.
What would you put in your 10? Spirited Away, Alien, Master Commander.
Matter of Life and Death.
We both hope to do that.
Chunking
someday.
Express, which I
another
think
one
we'll
on the
do
board
him someday.
Yeah.
Wong Kar-wai, of course. We done Mulholland Drive.
We have
never done Yee Yee.
No, but
Coward.
another one that's been thrown out a lot. Okay, so 4 out of 10 right now.
L'Atlanta.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Right. Projection.
The Malibu's Most Wanted spec sequel that I wrote and you said to be filmed.
Malibu's Second Most Wanted. Isn't it nice when a title just gives you a layup on the sequel like that? Second
I
Best
know the
Exotic
film
Marigold.
didn't succeed, but it is right there.
Yeah.
They could have done it.
Yeah.
There's probably others I'm not thinking of. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like
we've done it. We've done it.
Jerry Maguire, you've often referred to as
Which
being
one?
way up there. Jerry Maguire.
Well, we did that, and that is true. Right. It's sort of like Jerry Maguire I've seen 40 times. Master and Commander I've seen many, 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 many. Do I think like Late Spring is one of the greatest movies ever day? Yes.
Yeah.
Have I seen it like
the,
2 or 3 times max?
The Big Ten. I
put this movie on to.
Yeah.
It's like I was just watching the Pit last night, Pit finale.
Yeah.
Anyone watch?
No.
Push Master and Commander to get my BP down, right? I'm coming in crisis. Like Dr. Robbie would be like, get Master and Commander in the DVD right now. That'll calm him. That'll get his sats where they need to be, right? I have done that many times in my relationship with my wife. Like, like I've been like stressed out and then I put it on. And then like 20 minutes and she's like, that really did settle your mood. Yeah. And I'm like, ship is England.
Yeah. We have a movie coming up in a couple of weeks that is one of those for me.
Right.
But I was thinking, because like Toy Story 2, Ed Wood, guested on by our current guest.
I think that was the first time I ever appeared on the show. Blank
so.
check.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Gosh.
Broadcast News is probably in my 10.
Good one.
RoboCop, Robert Kopp.
I was going to say
that's
that's sort of the Griffin episode too, where you're just kind of like, you're Kobe. You're just like, let me have the ball. Like it's 48 minutes.
I want to be clear because I note your sensitivity and I want to be very clear. This is your episode. The way you talk about like, it'd be great if we did the Muppets so I could take 2 months off. I want to watch you two go off about this.
This is the thing. It is David's episode.
It is.
And when JD told me that, I was like, oh, great. I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, sure. Right.
And then, I'm also, aside from being a weird only child, even to this day, I'm also a great insinuator. But I promise you, I insinuate myself into things that I love.
Yeah.
And I promise you, though, that I was not trying to, I texted you guys after I listened to the Gallipoli episode with Jennifer Kent, which is great.
Thank you.
And I revisited Gallipoli.
She's the coolest. Movie's amazing, etc. All this journey. And I couldn't help myself. And I said, I can't wait till you guys get to Master and Commander. And then David goes, do you want to be on it? Well, I'll give you a little behind the scenes here. We had been going back and forth on, is this a classic guest list episode?
Do we do no guest, which is fine.
Sometimes there is a movie like RoboCop, where it's just like, this means so much to one of us. Do we need another voice in the room? And then when we get into those hypotheticals, there's always a if it was the right person, it could add even more to the episode. It could be cheese on top of the burger.
Look, I wasn't going to say no because I love this movie. But at the same time, I feel self-conscious because I have I just want to say this to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what qualifies me to be here other than I have been on a boat. And I'm very happy to talk about boat.
You've been on many a boat. You're a boatsman.
I mean, I want to share with the listeners that when Mr. Hodgman was doing his levels, he was going through different kinds of wind.
This is true. And he's wearing a hat.
You know more about the high seas than I.
He's wearing a hat that says,
is very helpful.
Why not? And has a drawing of a knot.
Yeah.
This is
K-N-O-T.
true. It's a pink trucker hat.
Yeah.
But to my point, Hodgman,
I'm not sure, Griffin, but I think he might have drawn that on there.
No.
Not sure that was bought.
No,
at the store.
commissioned?
It was not commissioned. It's not bespoke. I bought it off the rack.
Really?
At the general store in the unnamed coastal town in Maine where I spent some time. It was created by the daughter of our friend Molly, Lola Blake, 13-year-old Lola Blake. You're going to like this, Ben. She makes t-shirts and hats where she draws nautical shit on it. And the name of the line is "Ship Happens."
This is good. This is really good.
And,
it's a great hat.
And if you wish to inquire, I've just received an email from her mom.
Hey,
Ship Happens, Brooklyn@gmail.com. That's PROOKLI.
People want to order. Okay.
If you want to inquire,
Yeah.
she's 13 years old.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, let's not overwhelm her. Let's not overwhelm her.
You can inquire.
Yeah.
But we had gone back and forth. We were like, maybe this guest, if the timing worked out. There were a couple options, but we kept being like, but also, David, it could be guestless. I think that's a strong move if it's guestless. And then you had popped into my head truly the night before as I feel like Hodgman loves that beyond just being a man of the low seas. I think he specifically loves that movie. You sent the text. I side text David. I go, I've been thinking Hodgman for M&C. And immediately David was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
there was no argument about it. It was absolutely.
I like a comforting guest.
Well,
friend, a real friend.
I aim to be a comfort to you here. I feel sometimes I push my way through into podcasts and sort of try to wrestle control. I mutiny. Do you know what I mean? But today you are, oh captain, my captain.
Oh, relax, everyone. Relax.
And I am your midshipman Hollum. Just a shameful.
Well, I was going to say that's not the guy you want to be.
A shameful.
And he's worse in the books.
Imposter syndrome guy. And at any point, I'm going to jump off this ship with a cannonball.
He's worse in the books?
Yeah, his character is less sympathetic in the books. But we don't have to get into that because this is not, the books.
How hard have you gone on the books?
I'm not as hard as I could because there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what's this podcast?
This podcast is called Blank Check with Griffin and David. My name is Griffin.
I am David.
Let's put down our violins for a moment and get to podcasting.
Which are playing like guitars.
Yes. It is a cool moment.
It's
incredible.
The greatest ending in a movie ever.
This movie,
it's the fucking greatest shit that's ever happened.
This movie obviously does not mean as much to me as it does to you, but I cannot deny that ending for a millisecond.
All right, it's like the greatest ending line.
It's phenomenal.
Right? Perfect ending line. You're like, oh, I'm so happy. And then they're like, let's fucking, have sex, aka play our stringed instruments together. And you're like, wonderful. They're doing it. And you're like, this is great. And then he does a little violin to the side. And you're like, oh, this is so saucy. And then they swap it. And you're like, they're going to have a million more adventures.
Like, where else can this go? Are you going to tell me that the Vision is now picking up his cello and playing that like a guitar?
He is the Vision.
Like in this perfect scene, how could it get better? And he does? That's the final scene of the movie.
My father owned all of these books. He was very, very into these books. And so I have them all in my house. I have read, I would say, I think 6 of them. They are something that dads especially are go very deep on. There's 20 books.
There was a 21st that was unfinished at the time of his death?
That is unfinished. Yeah, okay. And
this is by whom?
The author's name is Patrick O'Brien. I think it's a pseudonym. And he wrote them. The first one's 1969. The last one came out 30 years later. So there are 20 books in 30 years.
And Master and Commander is the first one?
The name of the first one is Master and Commander.
Okay.
And the name of the name of the 10th one is The Far Side of the World.
Got it.
This one, the movie,
it's pulling.
It pulls from various things.
Yeah.
They are, as I think our guest John Hodgman, who we haven't introduced yet.
Oh boy.
I also haven't finished the intro, but yes,
come aboard.
The books.
They are very heavy on the particulars of naval life and Napoleonic procedure and all of the stuff that goes into being on a fucking boat.
Sight unseen
decks.
It's certainly the poop deck.
That is exactly what I imagine these
the
books
ropes, the knots.
Lines, Ben.
Lines, Ben. We all know this. Lines.
They're called lines, not ropes on a ship.
They're very interesting. What's crazy is that the first book, Master and Commander, is, what you think it is. It's Aubrey's only he's just become Master and Commander. He used to be a lieutenant. Master and Commander is like a naval rank, to be clear. It's sort of like a captain, basically. And it's like him meeting Matern and all that. The second book is called Post Captain, and it's mostly about them on shore while they're like various shit is happening. Like he's lost money because like the debt court is dealing with his seizure assets and all. And it's kind of like a Jane Austen novel, and it's kind of about them both falling in love. Like it's just crazy that was the second book. And then the third book, like they get the HMS Surprise, they're back on the seas. Like the books actually do defy what you think of them as just like dad shit. They are really, really awesome and interesting, but I am no expert on them. I'm not. I'm like not an expert on the book.
I'm certainly less of an expert than you.
And you read the first one, you said?
I've read like 6 of them.
I read about half of the first one, and then I realized if I go down this road, I will never get off.
Maybe you should read them all.
You got up to the ampersand and then you gave up.
I read the master part.
This is a podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their careers and are given a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they want. Sometimes those checks clear and sometimes they bounce. Baby, this is a mini-series on the films of Peter Weir. I tried to call it Podster and Castmander, the pod side of the cast, but instead it is called Podnick at Hanging Cast. Today we are talking about his penultimate film.
Yes.
Which is fascinating only because it is 23 years ago. The man is still alive. And this has now become at the top tier of the films that he's known for.
For sure.
But I wonder if he is even known for the film. In other words, I think that people who idolize this film in its reassessment that's been going on over the past half a decade or so, or decade, think of it as a Peter Weir film, or just think of it as a master and commander.
It's certainly a question we've been interrogating in doing this series is how many people put these movies together under the vision of one person and how they're filed in their mind. It feels like there are few people who have enough films that loom this large in the culture that the public doesn't really have a sense of.
Well, as I've been watching them over the course of listening to you guys do it so far, I'm reminded like he doesn't have a genre.
No.
He doesn't have it doesn't have like a through line.
His defining style is very subtle and is malleable.
Yeah, and he's not showy.
Right.
Even though he is probably one of the most showy, not telly directors that I can think of off the top of my head.
But in a very elegant, quiet way.
Yeah.
I also think
he kind of disappears.
It is interesting to me, even just in going through these movies, how few of them at the time were really sold as from the director of blank and blank.
You couldn't do that with him because I feel like it would just look weird for this poster with Russell Crowe's face to then be like from the director of The Truman Show. And people are like, well, I like The Truman Show, but that doesn't affect me.
Well, I mean, how do you connect the Truman Show?
Well, they both have boats.
That's true. That's a good point.
They do both have sailing scenes.
Yeah.
But
let me just say the Truman Show sailing scene, not very realistic. First of all, it's inside a dome.
Well, that's
very
a
rare
fair point. The film one might call science fiction.
One
might think about it a little bit.
Isn't the shared thing we've been talking about with him, though, is that his films cover small communities?
I was about to say.
Yes.
Culture's clashing.
I think that's very insightful.
There's so many boat movies. There are so many other boat movies. And I feel like there are so few that are about like the ecosystem of life on the boat that like versus this. Obviously, Pirates of the Caribbean. We understand that they have
it's fascinating
tentacles, possibly, and have been cursed. And we do get into that life.
Yes.
But do we hear about Salutin' Day? Okay.
No.
Does, I mean, like, is there a Killick type? No, there's not.
No, well, because Jack Sparrow has a $40,000 a month rum budget.
He does.
He's staying up all night with his Hollywood vampire friends.
Much
noodling, riffing.
Yeah.
First mate Alice Cooper.
I wonder, what Aubrey would make of Captain Jack Sparrow if you would like the cut of his jib. I feel like maybe not, but it is funny that the same year you have Pirates of the Caribbean and all the British naval officers in that, which I think is great, are these prigs, right? Are these like stuffy, sort of gray.
They're Star Wars Imperial officers. Right.
I mean, I know Jack Davenport has a little more flair and then he gets sexy in the second one and then he's sort of back to being regular.
He's got a good narrative. He's got a good arc in those movies.
Those movies are good. The first three.
Yeah.
I mean, not the other ones.
Pirates of the Caribbean did kind of fuck this movie, right? I mean, obviously this film was well-reviewed, got a ton of Oscar nominations. It did all right.
I don't think
was
Pirates of the Caribbean
super expensive, and obviously the ambition was to launch a franchise that didn't happen.
This movie is a miracle.
It is a miracle it exists.
This
I agree
movie,
with that.
it's incredible it exists. It's incredible it was made. It was an Oscar contender. It like, yes, should there have been sequels? Certainly. If 20th Century Fox had just, had a stiff back about it and just fucking done it. Because like, it's a movie that had such a long life.
Yeah.
Has such a long life.
Sure.
And they could have just seen that coming. And they could have just been like, look, Crowe, he's going to fit into these, breaches for another 6-7 years max. Like, let's try to get another 2 movies made.
Well, we always point to Robin Hood as
Robin
the
Hood
last
is
time
7 years later.
Tightened up a little.
You wouldn't even look, I mean, all respect to Crowe's performance in this movie, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't even tempt someone to go, why don't we do a young Jack Aubrey?
There have been threats recently.
Of course
I don't know
there
if you
have
saw
been.
this. Yes.
But then someone stops and thinks about it and goes, oh shit, we'd have to film it on a boat.
I think that's what often
it's a big
happens.
part of it.
Yeah.
It's a big part
how do you achieve it? I mean,
I couldn't even, even though I've seen this movie a couple of times, rewatching it for this, the first thing I thought of this movie is a miracle in the sense that I can't believe it existed and it will never exist again.
Yeah.
In part because those boats it's nuts what they did.
I also think.
And it would be CGI now and it would not.
I think that's more. You could do it, but it'd probably be a little.
But to the credit of the people running 20th century films now, don't you think they know if they made a young Aubrey prequel that was shot in the volume, people would revolt? They know they can't do that.
There would be a mutiny.
I don't think they're going to do that. What do you want to say, John?
Permission to speak,
please. Our guest today is John Hodgman, by the way, Judge
hi.
John Hodgman.
How many episodes have you been on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, this is your 7th episode, not including voicemails.
You've done some favors.
Thank you.
The They Live subliminal cut.
That's right. I forgot.
You were inside the little door in the Coraline episode.
Yeah,
you
I
did,
sang the
of
song.
course, watch Infinity War with us on Patreon.
You did.
Having watched the movie the night before.
I didn't realize we were going to be watching
A
it
live
again.
show or two.
Yeah, you've been.
I'm much more of an able seaman now.
You're a dear friend of the
I'm
show.
more seasoned.
Absolutely.
You've always delivered.
in the dialogue of the show. I started out as a landsman, as a lubber.
You're a pretty.
Then I became a normal seaman.
You're
now
a
I'm an
pretty
able seaman.
consistent kind of one a year on Blank Check. I will say, looking at your record here, looking at your ledger.
Anytime you wish, I will be here.
Well, you're busy, man. All right, take it back.
Let's maintain that fiction. I'm gonna make this case that if someone at 20th Pictures, like, let's do another Master and Commander, it would be a failure. And here's why. David put his masterly and commanderly finger on it. This is dad shit. And the thing is, this came out in my thoughts in kind of the last time dads were going to movies. So many dads were seeing Peter Weir movies. They're a lot about dadism.
Just to get this out of the way, what would happen is a show, not a movie. They would do a streaming series.
Yes, well, that's the thing. Now,
and that's what they often
like
are
dads are
threatening to
still, and
Yes.
I'm speaking to this from personal experience. Dads are definitely watching YouTubes about sleeper cars on trains across
Oh, I
transcontinental
love
sleeper
to watch
cars,
one of those.
right? Gondolas and funiculars,
Sure. I would say less so for me.
dead empires,
Yeah, please.
and you think
what were the Hittites up to? Tell me.
Exactly. And you think I haven't been going to sleep watching YouTube videos with 3D models of the HMS Victory breaking down a classic British ship of the line of 1805? Of course. And that's what I'm doing at home. Dads are not going to go to dads stay at home and watch things.
You can go see the HMS Victory, you know.
That's what I hear.
You should go.
Well, where is it?
Portsmouth.
It's Portsmouth, New Hampshire?
Unfortunately, my friend, no, it's in the original
I'll stop on the way to Maine. All right, yeah.
It's kind of out in the UK.
Yeah. Well, it's a little easier. This is the point. A lot more dads would stay at home and watch a streaming Master and Commander than they would go to Portsmouth to stand on the Victory.
Unfortunately, they wouldn't. I think one day it will happen.
More dads would even go to Portsmouth to stand on the deck of the ship where Lord Nelson died, the HMS Victory.
Yes, he did die there. The greatest man in the world.
Then go to a cinema to watch a Master and Commander movie. I just think it's where we're at. And this is like, the dad shit in this movie is obviously obsession with boats and procedure and all male worlds, but it's also about the dadly relationship that he has with the young officers. It's all dadism all the way down.
I just want to, you know who Horatio Nelson is, obviously.
Sure.
Okay. Only you know a little bit.
Yeah,
and you guys don't know who Nelson is, right?
No.
Who's invoked in this movie
Lord
a lot.
Nelson, Viscount Lord Nelson.
Yeah.
The guy who stands on the column in Trafalgar Square.
Well, yes.
Okay,
that's how I often will, like, because my wife has watched this movie with me multiple times, and every time I'm like, you get who Nelson is, right? And she's like, no, don't know what you're talking about. Like, whatever you told me last time, it's gone again. But like, and I keep trying to be like, he's the most important British person who ever lived. And it's kind of crazy that, like,
the most important,
probably, and like, it's crazy. Churchill, I would say, is the other.
That feels like the obvious.
It's between the two of them,
Billy
but
Elliot,
Churchill is like obviously he, you know, he's pretty cool, like, or whatever. But he's a pretty complicated figure.
Yeah,
you know, he has some failures, Gallipoli among them in his ledger.
Yeah,
you know,
guy liked his grog.
Yeah,
he did like. His grog.
But in the morning he'll be sober and you'll still be ugly.
But like Nelson is
fucking 5
Nelson's the guy who beat Napoleon.
You want to say something nasty? Sit in a circle with these guys.
And it's like one of those things where I'm like, right, like every British child knows who Admiral Nelson is, but like no other person really outside of Britain would care too much.
Who is he equivalent to even in like American
Eisenhower,
history?
I guess. Like, who's the most famous?
Clavicular, probably.
Patton,
yeah.
Sure. Who's the most famous American military leader? It's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like Eisenhower, Patton, Grant. Someone like that. Washington.
Nelson is the other ship captain they're talking about, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of all of Peter Weir's storytelling, which, in my opinion, he'll drop esoteric shit, but he well, I mean, if you're an American, but it's contextualized enough for an American and for a lay viewer that this is like the greatest dude that's ever lived, and they're all excited just to have.
But you do
the
know
fact that he sat at a table with him is blowing people's minds.
Right? You do know that there's the big column in Trafalgar Square in London. Like there's a big column with the guy. He's the guy on top of it.
Oh shit!
Because he beat Napoleon.
Right.
Which we British people really like to bring up. Like that he beat Napoleon the second time. Wellington also beat
Bonaparte.
Yeah, Napoleon Bonaparte.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was wondering.
But at
the guy from the water park. Yeah.
I mean, sorry, his was the first time. Wellington is the second time.
Yeah.
Wellington is Waterloo.
There are two things I want to say. One about the death of dad cinema, right? It does feel like that is an audience that was lost permanently in the pandemic. That those are people who are just like, I just got used to watching things this way. It is just not a thing I even consider going to theater to see stuff.
Right. And I can surround myself with all my dadly comforts.
Yeah. And I think even through the late 2010s, there would be dad hits that would punch through. And it feels like those things go straight to streaming now. And one that's really emblematic and feels like a counterpoint of the miracle of this movie being made at this scale by a major studio, this seriousness, close to 25 years ago, versus like, I think still one of the most watched streaming movies of all time. Certainly the number one movie in the history of Apple Plus is Tom Hanks's Greyhound.
Good movie.
Which was meant to be a theatrical movie.
Right. It was a COVID shuttle to Apple TV because of COVID.
And he just finished filming a second one. Like he has made this a franchise for him. And they are movies that just like, unless you are the target audience, you aren't aware this exists.
I would say, here are some examples of dad movies recently that I think succeeded.
Okay.
Top Gun Maverick, but that doesn't totally count, but it still counts.
The magic of that is that
it's
dad movies are part of the slice versus the whole pie.
Ford versus Ferrari, I think dad movie was a big part of the
That's
pie.
a 2019 though. That's a perfect example for me.
But not that long ago.
Sully, these are movies that still like made 100 million domestic.
Yeah.
And you're like, this audience is majority dad.
Post-COVID, it's the oldies aren't showing up, and we got them to show up. We got to get them to show up, but that's not going to make Russell Crowe 40 years old again. There's no sequel. There's no perfect sequel to Master and Commander by Peter Weir with Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany that we'll ever get, but that's okay because we have this movie and it ends so perfectly.
This is the second thing I wanted to say to this point. This movie's a miracle. How does it exist? Tom Rothman, who was pretty infamous at this point of being like a pretty brutal kind of mercenary, sort of here's the future of studios. He's not too precious about art. He wants to make entertainment. He's noting everything to death. Now he's in charge of Sony, Columbia.
Yeah.
And he feels like the throwbacky guy who's going out to CinemaCon and being
Tom
like,
Rothman.
We got to make original movies,
He was just at CinemaCon just like last week being like, stop having so many fucking ads in front of everything. Right. And all of the AMC people are like shifting in their seat.
Windows need to be 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, right.
We need to make things for like different audiences. In the 2000s, he was seen as like, is this guy too crass a businessman? And now he feels like one of the last guys fighting for integrity, but was just sort of a brass tacks guy. Despite being, as everyone said, a big fan of movies, very well educated, but he's like, but my job is to like run this like a business. This was a fucking passion project for him. He was not applying the usual checks and balances in his head to this movie because it was like from the moment he fucking got that seat at Fox, he was like, I'm going to be the guy who's finally going to get the fucking Aubrey movies off the ground onto seats.
And can I say something?
Yeah.
Looking at his biography here, I can tell you that when this movie finally came out, he was 48 years old. In real dad territory. He's the dad to 2 daughters.
Yep.
He was into this dad shit.
He was into this dad shit.
He's into this dad shit.
Now, here's the weird parallel I was going to say. When the story came out a couple of years ago that Fox is maybe, or 20th Century is maybe noodling with a Master and Commander reboot. There's no writer attached, or there was a writer attached, no director attached, young Aubrey, whatever it is. The reason that was happening was not just because this movie has gained such a reputation and a cult. It is because Jason Isbell, who is now the head of 20th Century, his first movie as a junior exec.
I think it's Stevens.
You're right.
Yeah,
sorry.
Jason Isbell is a musician, I believe.
Different guy.
Okay. I like
Steven
him as
Asbell
a
is the
musician.
correct
He
guy.
tears it up online with right-wing weirdos.
This was the first movie he ever worked on. And so he has some weird romanticism and nostalgia for this as well. I don't think he gets it over the finish line, but it's the only reason we're even talking about it.
Let's move off of that because we're not talking about that. We're talking about Master and Commander. We're talking about Peter Weir's film, Master and Commander. When did you see this film, Griffin?
I saw this in theaters.
Sure.
I believe if not even opening weekend, I want to say there was maybe even like a preview weekend a week or two early.
Maybe.
Here's my relationship to this movie.
Came out in November, right before Thanksgiving 2003. Makes obviously perfect sense for it.
I went to see this with the oft-invoked Derek Simon, my childhood friend, my oldest friend.
Hi, Derek.
We went to see it opening weekend. The movie starts, and like 3 minutes in, I was like, oh, right, I don't like this kind of movie.
Sure.
I sat there and was
You're
just
a young man. What are you, 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not my kind of thing. I sit there, I respect the craft of it, but there was a little bit of, I just signed up for a class in a subject I'm not interested in, right?
What kind of movie was it to you at that time?
What kind of movie
was it to you? When you say, I don't like this kind of movie.
It's like a history movie. It's a bunch of boys. It's a war movie.
Yeah.
You know, like this is not a Griffin movie, especially not Teen Griffin.
No, especially not Teen Griffin.
No monsters or puppets.
No.
There's no cartoon characters.
I don't want to. Let's not make it sound like that's the only kind of thing I like.
When you were 14, though,
but I think
like you liked more genre.
It's a very stoic film.
Well,
it's a very emotionally reserved
a light
film.
heart with a lot of wonderful humor to it. But yes, that's true.
And it's I think very earnest.
Yeah, well, sure.
Right.
It's pretty earnest.
Right.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of history in a general sense.
It's just one thing after another, you might have said. That's what James Corden says in the history books.
Yeah.
The history boys.
Never rewatched this movie because I was just sort of like, I respect it, but it's just not my kind of movie.
But you've slowly over the years, like anyone, you've noticed like, that movie gets talked about a lot.
100%.
It's got kind of a cult around it. Beyond cult, at this point, it's sort of like revered or whatever.
When we become friends and you tell me this is one of your favorite movies, I'm like, that makes perfect sense.
Best movie of 20.
It both perfectly aligns with everything I know about you at that point and helps me understand you further. 6 or 7 years ago, Derek, who I'd seen it with, and we walked out with the same reaction, was like, have you ever seen Master and Commander? And I was like, yeah, we saw it together. We were both bored. And he's like, I've seen it like 20 times now. Clearly it just bounced off me at the time. I rediscovered it. I'm now obsessed with it. I watch it all the time. I'm like, I do need to reassess this movie. But also, Peter Weir is pinned to the board as an inevitable. So I just have kind of held off rewatching it. And also, the 4K only came out recently. There wasn't a good version of it for a while, what have you. So I set it up for this moment. And I will say, simultaneously, I rewatched this and I was like, I totally get this. I completely get this. It makes perfect sense to me. I understand the value of this movie. It is innately not my kind of film, but I was not disengaged from it in the way I was as a 14-year-old.
But it's the best movie ever made. Ben.
David. Or sorry, Mr. Sims.
That's how you do it. Mr. Yeah, exactly. Had you seen this film?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of
I know
your
you saw
enthusiasm.
Okay. So you didn't see it at the time?
I didn't see it at the time, but
movie.
I probably 2 or 3 years ago, I threw it on.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I had a big old smile on my face.
Yes.
Loved it. It is so comforting.
It's really one of the most likable movies.
It is incredibly likable. For a movie in which like a 12-year-old's arm is amputated, various people die, there's war, there's no women, and I love women.
Yeah.
And this is a womanless movie.
I was going to say that's
consciously,
that's a thing I saw the Wikipedia noting that people vaguely complain about at the time only because there are characters in the books.
There are women. I mean, yes. Yeah. I mean, they're not on the boats usually, but there's female characters and they have lives at home. Because the whole thing is you go away and then you come back. It's the naval life of someone has to wait for your ass. If you got engaged to them and you're like, anyway, I gotta go.
You got Laura Linney on the phone.
They don't have phones.
Oh, right.
Don't have phones.
They don't have the telephone.
They don't even have the mail.
Wait, Ben, you're picking this up. Oh, no.
Oh, well.
No.
You handed us a piece of paper, folded, and said, don't look at it yet. I'm not looking.
Ben, I got to say, this is unrelated. This chair is so squeaky now. I need my new chair, I think.
I know. We
need a squeaky-ass chair.
What I was going to say.
New Wi-Fi network name. Yeah.
Is this movie taught me what batten down the hatches means.
Okay.
It literally means
There's a lot of
just hammer the hatches
They're
closed
hatches,
so
and you
the
gotta
water
batten
doesn't
them
come
down.
in.
Be raining a lot.
Down.
Bat them down.
This my whole life going through just not even really recognizing what that
And
meant.
we're
We're going to talk about
on a
beating to
daily basis,
quarters.
yeah.
We're going to talk about
Shall we beat to quarters?
true colors. We're going to talk about giving leeway. All these phrases come from the HMS Surprise.
We shall beat to quarters. We should have started this episode by beating to quarters.
Did
That
you,
is true.
Sams, see this immediately and
Yes.
love it on
I saw
first
it
sight?
at the Odeon Leicester Square with Howard Amos. Shout out Howard, wherever you are, probably Scotland, where you live, my friend. We were both 17 years old. It was, I think it must have been, well, it wasn't winter break yet. I think it came out in Britain at the same time, but now I want to find out.
Seeing this
Back
in
then, it
England
wasn't always
must
that.
have been a very specific,
Well, but like,
fucking insane in spirit.
remember, I was
experience.
17 years old, so I am not yet dad, right? And I am
but
not
you're
yet
surrounded by
Oh, for
people who
sure. It
know
was a big
this.
deal. Yeah, no, it came out same week in Britain. Yeah. So it's mid-November. It's November 17th or whatever is, or 14, whatever. That's sort of like mid-November. And of course we'll do the box.
This is not like a Westerosi fantasy world.
No, although
the
I
way
love
it
that
is
one too.
was to American audiences.
Sure. Yes. No, it's you're right. It's a much shorter thing to walk. And like we all had watched Hornblower on TV in the 90s.
Right.
Like, and of
What is
course,
a hornblower?
oh, Ben, you'd love it. Hornblower is a series of TV movies based on books, very popular books. George Lucas, a big fan of Hornblower.
Don't you watch the Hornblower
I do.
once a year?
No, it's more like once every sort of 5-6 months with
Ehrlichs?
Marie,
Yeah.
David and Elisa, David Ehrlich and his wife,
Uh-huh.
and of course David Barty Salinas, who he might be the biggest fan of the
That is
Hornblowers.
very unsurprising.
And this is about a jazz man?
If only.
Yeah.
It's
On
about
ships of the line, there were strange jobs.
it's about
And
a
one of
young
them was the hornblower.
it's about a young Navy lieutenant called Horatio Hornblower, who, the first one, he's like low on the totem pole, but he rises over the series. And it happened because Elisa, David Ehrlich's wife, texted me like, I want to watch like a Master and Commander thing, but not Master and Commander because I've seen enough Master and Commander.
Okay.
And I was like, there's not much, but
Yeah.
there's Hornblower.
Yeah.
And she was like, what's that? And I was like, it's this British TV thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's not streaming. And I was like, all right, well, I'm buying the fucking box set. I have it.
Yeah.
Bought it now. And we're watching them. So we all watch that. We blow the horn, we say.
Is this
They're
really like the only modern version of this executed at this level of quality in
Yeah.
movies? And when I say modern, I say like anything post 1950.
There's got to be some other like, there's other stuff, isn't there? There's
sailing
sea movies.
sailing ships at sea, doing cannon play with each other,
Like, here's the thing I felt
getting feisty with the 25-pounders.
past the opening title cards the moment this movie started. I had a very clear thought. Oh, yeah, this is the only movie that gets right what it's like to have been on a ship in this time
I
period.
think so.
And then I step back and I go, I don't fucking know that. I have no lived experience.
No, I mean,
But-
I'm looking at like lists of Napoleon. It's like
Yeah.
there's not much. There was more back in the day, back in the sort of 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
But I think most of the Napoleonic stuff back then, it's more the land. Like there's that movie Waterloo, but that's about, okay, well, you should.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though? That
yes, I
that
do. It's very
sensation
hard.
of seeing something in a movie that you have no firsthand experience of. Right. And the creaks, and you're just like, yeah, I feel like they got this right. This feels accurate to something I don't know shit about in a way. Like Sunshine, I always point to that movie for me versus other sci-fi movies. I'm like, this is what it feels like to live in a spaceship for a couple of years. And I have no knowledge. I can't speak to that with any authority, but I feel the same way about this.
I think that one of the things look, I did not live during the Napoleonic War era. I saw this movie for the first time after I had spent a week with my family. I believe in a 90-foot wooden two-masted sailing schooner on a course that I took on schooner navigation.
Specifically.
Yeah, because, it's something that comes up a lot. You'd be surprised at how often you want to know how to sail a schooner.
Mm-hmm.
But the Wooden Boat School in Brooklyn, Maine offered this week on the Merry Day And so I had spent time on a wooden boat and learning the pin rail and the sails and all this stuff. And when we got back, I was like, I want more of that.
What year is this?
This would have been recently. I didn't see this movie when it came out.
Wow.
This would have been 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
Right.
When I was like, I never saw Master and Commander.
You're in a boat headspace, right? And you're like, what are the boat movies? And there's only so many.
So at that time, I am a dad. At that time, our son was not yet an adult, but was living with us. He had been on the boat. I was like, let's watch some boat shit.
Does your son care about this boat stuff?
Well, am I wrong?
I think he thinks of it relatively fondly, but he didn't get into it necessarily.
Am I wrong in remembering that your son went to a boat school?
School on a boat?
Look, I've been coy about this town.
Sure.
But I've already mentioned it twice. So it's Brooklyn, Maine.
Yes, you're loath to mention it.
And there are, it's just, it's kind of a long-running joke.
Yes.
Because E.B. White had lived there and he wouldn't reveal where he lived. And he would always say, I live somewhere on the coast of the United States between New Brunswick, Canada, and Cuba.
And Vacationland's only available on hardcover, right?
No, it's available now in paperback.
Oh, thanks for asking. That's helpful.
I think I'm going to start talking about my experiencing the movie again. I feel like we got off the rails.
No, I'm driving towards a specific point. I just remember when I first met your son that he was very interested in boating.
Yeah, they built. So there's a lot of wooden boat building in that community.
Yes,
and there was for local kids and summer kids. They all built a wooden skiff.
This is together. A family interest that runs deep.
I understand, but I was
we kind of forced him to do it.
Yeah.
David. Please.
Yeah. So I saw it with Howard. I thought it was great. I then saw it on a date. It's a bad idea. It was a disastrous date. The movie is quite long. It's not that long, really. It's 2 hours, 20 minutes, and is about what it's about: boys on a boat. And my date was not excited by Master and Commander.
Did you make out?
Probably. We were 17. I mean, it's all.
What did you deem skippable enough for a quick makeout sesh?
Oh, during the movie?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
After,
yeah.
I think.
Because I was confused by, the idea that you would look away from the screen for even a second.
No, not during the movie. No,
that didn't sound like
you actually shoot her away.
I'm like, go. We need the quarters.
Yeah. She's leaning in. But I'm sorry, my dear. I must watch.
You
I really liked this movie, but when I was like 17, my favorite movies of that year were Elephant, which was a big movie for me then.
That was a big one for me as well.
Elephant.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think David Gordon Green's All the Real Girls. Like that was a big movie for teen David.
Yep.
Obviously, I enjoyed The Lord of the Rings' epic conclusion and X-Men 2. And
yes, that was way up there.
28 Days Later. Yes. Kill Bill Volume 1, right? These were the big movies.
Right.
I was at the time foolishly disappointed by the Matrix sequels and Hulk. I would mature.
You'd get there.
Right. But Master and Commander was a movie I really liked.
Uh-huh.
And my dad liked it, obviously, as a big fan of the books. He enjoyed it. I bought it on DVD right away.
But it was not an immediate, this is one of my favorite movies ever.
No. And then it just, I think as it was for a lot of people, I just kept going back to it. And they kept making movies that weren't like it, which they have consistently done to this day.
Yeah.
Hollywood just keeps making 0 movies in which Paul Bettany in a house coat angrily yells at the captain of his ship that he can't go on the Galapagos Islands to look at cormorants because the ship has to go fight, the French.
This is an interesting point. Is this movie's rising cult also a byproduct of a kind of the longer time goes on, it is one-stop shopping. This is the only place you can go to this.
Paul Bettany's performance in this film is the greatest.
I think he's
the greatest performance ever captured by a camera.
Kind of the best
greatest film performance
too.
The best everything. The seriousness of this man, right? From moment one, just the gravitas, just steadiness, right? Aubrey's got more bluster and Maturin's very calm. And then just for an hour into the movie for him to just show up in that coat with the hat, right? Ready to go, ready with his wooden cages to capture some iguanas and finally admit to, show some vulnerability when Aubrey's like, we got to fucking go. And he's like, you promised me I could look at birds. I need to look at the birds right now.
It may not surprise you to hear that Paul Bettany's character is the one thing I remember connecting with.
Of course.
Seeing it as a 14-year-old.
I mean, he actually got Oscar buzz. He was in the mix.
But I was just I get this guy. This is the closest analog to what I would feel like in this experience. I loved him. I was like all in on Paul Bettany at the time.
Yeah, exactly. He was such an exciting young actor at the time.
He's so fucking good in Beautiful Mind. I feel like with distance, he's arguably the best performance in that movie.
Sure. You know what? That's a movie I have not seen in 25 years.
A little bit terrified to rewatch, but I remember my mom and I walking out being like, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
Right. He was brand new. Yeah. Very excited. He'd obviously been in Knight's Tale that year too.
Yeah. And Gangster #1 was a couple years before that. But when seeing this, I was like, well, this clearly feels like an anointment moment where they're going to give him a kind of Star is Born, Jude Law and Talented Mr. Ripley, Best Supporting Actor nom. You've proven yourself and now you're a leading man. And instead his career like kind of immediately gets waylaid after this.
Well, at that time I was writing for Men's Journal magazine, which is the very famous national magazine covering the trend of men keeping journals.
Yep, of course.
And I pitched a profile of Paul Bettany, having not seen the movie.
Just liking him.
But you're
already.
like, this character's going to pop.
I'm like, yeah. And they said, no, not that nerd.
Wow. Can I tell you that?
An insane thing to say about the man who is married to Jennifer Connelly.
Although he wasn't yet, right?
They were together.
They may have been together. Because they met on Beautiful Mind?
Yeah.
Even though he's a figment of someone's imagination in that movie. So how could they have even met?
Mm-hmm. They also don't have any scenes together, but they did.
Because he's a figment of his imagination. Yeah. He has no scenes with anyone but Russell Crowe.
I believe the story is that they like had a flirtation and maybe a hookup during the filming of Beautiful Mind.
Well.
Then the movie's obviously done and 9/11 happens. And as he tells the story, when he sees the news on TV, he's like, all I want to do is call Jennifer Connelly.
You're right. That is on his Wikipedia page.
And he called her and was like, should we fucking give this a go? And they were married like 6 months later, right?
They've been married ever since?
Yeah.
Paul Bettany, the Oscar nominees that year for supporting actor were Tim Robbins for Mystic River, who wins.
Well,
in my opinion, not a very good
bad win.
Yes, kind of a bad win.
Yeah.
Good actor.
Yeah.
A lot of good performances.
Bad win.
Alec Baldwin in The Cooler. It was the Alec Baldwin moment.
Yes. But in retrospect, you're just like, that movie doesn't exist. It is so weird that's his only Oscar nomination.
It's not a bad movie, but it doesn't really exist.
I remember him being good in it.
He's really good.
But it was just the moment of him embracing doing the character actor thing. Everyone liked him being the bear.
Benicio in 21 Grams. He's amazing in that.
What I have often contended, if he hadn't won for Traffic, he would have won this year.
An amazing performance.
Yeah, he's in a dog shit movie, but he's phenomenal in that film.
Not a very well remembered movie. Jaimin Honsu in America, a performance I really like, a nom I kind of love.
Same.
But another one that you're kind of like, like another performance nobody really talks about.
Kind of anymore. A nomination morning surprise. I forget who he bumped out, but he was not as much in the
what I'm getting to.
Bettany.
And then Ken Watanabe in Last Samurai, which is a movie I don't love, but a performance I adore.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a nice, that was a nice.
Yeah.
The Globes had, so Peter Sarsgaard in Shattered Glass, who cleaned up the other Critics Awards.
Guy. Yeah.
Amazing performance.
Yeah.
Got snubbed. Yeah. Rude. Albert Finney in Big Fish got the Globe and BAFTA noms.
Yeah.
Seemingly an obvious nom there.
Real Lifetime Achievement.
And then the Oscars just spurned Big Fish generally. Yeah. They were just kind of not for us.
Mm-hmm.
The BAFTA nominees were Robbins.
Yeah.
That's the only one it shares with the Oscars.
He was inevitable that season. There was almost no tension. It also felt like he's had a really big 80s and 90s, and here's the anointment moment. And from the moment he gets that Oscar, his career is basically...
They were like, never employ this man again.
Right.
Tim Robbins, Mystic River. Ian McKellen, Return of the King. I think that's a bit of a softball nom, but whatever. Fine.
And the thing I find very funny is that Ian McKellen often in interviews will say, I believe I'm the only actor to be nominated twice for playing the same character, which is both wrong in that other people have done it and he didn't get the Oscar nomination, but he thinks he did because of the BAFTA.
Because of the BAFTA.
He'll cite it also, all the time.
Gandalf the White and Gandalf the Grey are kind of different characters. In a way.
Is true.
Yeah, one of them doesn't even remember his own name.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen, Albert Finney.
Yeah.
Big Fish.
Yeah.
Bill Nighy, who won for Love Actually.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a moment. I think the Brits getting a little too huffy on their own paint.
They used to do this, though.
I mean, he's so fun in that movie, and I don't like that movie, but obviously. And it was the Nighy moment. We were all like,
this is also
Bill
like
Nighy.
my beloved, Denholm Elliott winning Best Supporting Actor for Trading Places.
And Paul Bettany was nominated by the BAFTAs. It was the one he did get the nom. But no, after this, he did Wimbledon, and it killed his career. It's insane.
It's kind of wild how
like
bad it gets.
When he gets the Iron Man job, to be the voice of Jarvis, it's kind of a like, you don't have any fucking other shit going on, do you, buddy?
And
like,
that's because it's Favreau in Wimbledon. They were friends from that.
Right.
I think Favreau's in Wimbledon as an actor.
I mean, like, obviously he's like the villain in Da Vinci Code. Like, he was working.
This is what I was going to say. Da Vinci, in another universe, you're like, if this movie isn't repellent dog shit, is this an opportunity for like a fucking John Malkovich and In the Line of Fire moment? And instead, it feels like there's 6 years where he's either just doing true paycheck shit, like he's the villain in Firewall.
Yep.
Or there's like...
Inkheart.
Right. Inkheart's another
He's
one where
like
you're...
a guy in Young Victoria. Or it's stuff like Legion, where it's like he is on the poster, but that's like a really odd, junky
this is like
movie.
a $15 million Screen Gems movie. Wasn't
Like
Paul Bettany supposed to be the guy? I like both of those movies, which are very odd and stylish.
I like both of those
but
movies.
It was like, okay, so this guy's neither seen as a serious actor nor a major movie star. And then he just has a run of being like Johnny
Men's
Depp's...
Journal wouldn't profile him.
Yes.
Hollywood's like, yeah, I guess we got to take the message. This guy's
It's
not
so
for us.
strange.
He's not going to break through.
And then he has 3 consecutive Johnny Depp's best friend performances.
Mordecai and Transcendence. I'm not sure the other one.
And also, why am I blanking on the other one here?
Oh, no.
There is a third one.
I believe you.
It's the Tourist.
Oh, right. He's in The Tourist.
Maybe he's a villain in The Tourist.
He's good in Margin Call. But that's a small
he's really
movie.
Good. But that would be the thing. He'd pop up as like 7th build in a movie with like a good dramatic scene. You'd be like, why is no one fucking using this guy?
He says when he got to be Vision that he really was like just his career was, his agent was kind of like, it's just not happening for you anymore.
He directed a film starring his wife, Jennifer Connelly, nice work if you can get it, and Anthony Mackie called Shelter, about a homeless romance. And he was like, I needed to tell this story. And I turned down a lot of jobs and I focused on this for like 3 or 4 years. And it went to festivals and everyone was like, why the fuck did you make this? And then he tells the story of his reps being like, we're dropping you. Like, you fucked it up, man. And he's like, literally the same day Favreau called me and was like,
no, it's Whedon. Whedon calls him.
Isn't he in the first one?
He's in Iron Man, but like he's the voice. But Shelter came out in 2014.
You're right.
It's Whedon's then like, hey, by the way, like I have this fun idea of like
Vision.
You're the voice of Jarvis and it'll make you Vision.
Yes.
And he's like, well, that sounds good. Is that good? And Whedon's like, like that's like in the Avengers.
My fucking
good idea.
Yes.
I mean, I this is purely speculative, but he's been married to Jennifer Connelly for a long time. First person he thought of when the Twin Towers came down.
Yep.
They seem to have a real marriage.
He said he's like had a crush on her from like Labyrinth, which I mean, got in line.
Well, I thought he was the only one.
Right.
But like I hear that story and I'm like, maybe I should have called Jennifer Connelly on 9/11.
Hey, can I holler at you, Jennifer? I'm 13 years old. But
I'm not saying that the vicissitudes of Hollywood were not unkind to him, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Obviously, Men's Journal really fucking blackballed him. But sometimes I feel like when someone is in a good marriage, that maybe his priorities are different.
Although she also has had an odd career.
Say it again.
She has.
She's had an odd career.
I know, and maybe that's because they love each other and love spending time with each other, and they're not chasing fame in the way that a single hungrier person would be. Like,
sure. I have no idea. I'm not.
And they're dads and moms too, right?
Connelly, yes. Connelly obviously wins the Oscar for the movie they did together at the very beginning of their relationship. And then it feels like she has continued to be, for the last 25 years, one of these people where I'm just like, why is everyone fucking taking her for granted? Every 4 or 5 years, she'll like pop up again in a way. And everyone's like, right, Jennifer Connelly still looks great, is always good. And then she goes back to being ignored for another 4 or 5 years.
But is she being ignored, or is she making a choice to just...
I don't know.
I mean, like fucking
of her life. 5 seasons of Snowpiercer. It's not like she's choosing to not work, but it just feels like the stuff isn't sticky. Yeah. And then she'll be in like fucking Top Gun Maverick.
Which she's great in.
She's
luminous.
Yes.
And she's got incredible chemistry with Tom Cruise in that movie. Sexual chemistry.
I actually think it is the most successfully a woman has conveyed.
Because she's so good.
Yes.
She's that great an actress.
Yeah.
He seems a little uncomfortable, but she's so good.
I think that movie has the exact right strategy in how to make you buy their relationship and what they show you and the things they're just like, we're not even going to attempt to show you this.
I'm going to open the dossier and then we're going to talk about Master Commander.
Let's drop anchor.
Okay. Yes, okay.
And pop open that dossier.
All right. In 2000, here's a curious note from this is not related to Master and Commander, but in 2000, Peter Weir, Wolfgang Peterson, Rob Reiner, Jonathan Demme, the great Brad Silberling, director of your favorite Casper, participated in a creative bake-off to pitch themselves as the director of Harry Potter.
Okay.
They were all part of, I assume Warner Brothers was essentially like, call a bunch of kind of esteemed-ish directors who've done big productions.
Can you run that list again quickly? Sorry.
Wolfgang Peterson. Yep. So like, obviously he's a big director.
I had done a lot of stuff for Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, he's starting to lose his luster, but he's made huge movies. Demi. Yeah. Demi's kind of a wild choice.
Yeah.
That
would have been very interesting.
This is like post Beloved.
Right. But he's still fucking Jonathan Demme. And Brad Sibberling, who, he's kind of like they got Chris Columbus. Right. Yes. And it's like Chris Columbus is more proven than him, really.
Right.
But
Columbus
kind of
is more emotional. Sibberling is a little more technical.
But it's also like Columbus has just made two of the biggest movies ever with like kids in them.
The other famous story is that like J.K. Rowling said my first choice is Terry Gilliam, and Warner Brothers said that's not a conversation.
Yeah, Warner Brothers was like, okay,
respectfully,
okay, lady. There was like the rumor that Spielberg sniffed and
but only
Rowling
wanted to do it with Haley Joel.
Right, and Rowling was like, I'm not doing like American Harry Potter. I'm not like, she knew that he would box her out. Like he's more powerful.
He also
than
was
her.
like, I'd want to make some changes. And Warner Brothers was like, your job is to adapt the books Harry Potter in a way that satisfies all audiences.
M. Night Shyamalan supposedly was also like given a phone call. I've heard that, and whatever. It ended up with Chris Columbus. They went for like a very safe.
Yes.
Weir would have been possibly interesting.
Weir's
not,
fascinating.
No idea. Yeah. Instead, though, Weir does not win this bake-off, obviously. He gets attached to an adaptation of Master and Commander for 20th Century Fox. Tom Rothman, back when he was president of production at Samuel Goldwyn Company in the 90s, read an Aubrey Maturin book and loved it and asked Samuel Goldwyn to acquire the film rights, please. So that's in 1993. The rights then cycle between Goldwyn and Touchstone, which is, of course, a Disney subsidiary.
Yes. This movie has 3 studios attached to it. It has Miramax, Fox, and Universal.
Does.
Yeah.
John McTiernan at one point was attached to direct an adaptation for Touchstone.
Makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At one point, Goldwyn asked Weir to do it sometime in the 90s, and he says he turned it down because they wanted to do the first book in the series, which is like more of a young Aubrey. Like Aubrey has just gotten his first command. By 98, Goldwyn has the rights again. And he has a new home at 20th Century Fox. Oh, no, sorry, Rothman has the rights again. And Rothman's at 20th Century Fox. And then Fox, he becomes president and CEO in 2000. And it is his passion project. It is like, his, like, as you're saying, Griffin, like...
This is the one I'm going to be remembered for.
And I'm going to ignore the usual studio notey kind of like, well, anyway.
This is the one for him.
Weir is always his top choice.
Yeah.
He's been his top choice since the mid-90s, and since the mid-90s, he's only gotten more obsessed with the books.
Mm-hmm.
He's now read, the entire opus.
Weir has, you're saying?
No.
Or Rothman.
Rothman has.
Yeah.
Patrick O'Brien dies at the age of 85, January 2000.
Okay.
Weir,
as far as he knew, the Two Towers stood forever. He's lucky in that.
He's lucky. Weir, still hesitant to sign on. But I mean, it just seems like Rothman was basically like, well, here's the story. They'd have a meeting and Rothman says, what I really think you should do. And then he pulls out a captain's sword and hands it to him and says, is take command of the HMS Surprise. And Peter Weir is like, can I keep the sword? And they were like, yeah, you can have the sword. Like, go ahead.
You also have to imagine that Rothman's basically saying to him, like, I'm going to give you full support to make the best version of this movie. You're not going to deal with dumb fucking notes.
This is exactly what Weir says.
Yeah.
He says, you could not have made this without a studio executive at the top of the tree who loves the material. Like you need Rothman at the top. Every time someone's like, hey, Peter Weir just bought 1 million more gallons of water. Rothman's like, approved.
Right.
Give him another 1 million.
The guy with the stamp, the rubber stamp, needs to be someone who understands exactly what these books are and has no temptation to be like, could we add a romantic subplot? Could we do this? Could we do that? Kind of bullshit. Yeah.
There's a talking parrot.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
That was my main note at the time. Yeah.
Ben, the name of the boat is the HMS Surprise. Just so you know.
Okay.
And if you want to know how to drop anchor, I'll tell you sometime.
I would.
Okay. Put a pin in it.
Great.
So Weir is still like, I don't want to do the first book, which has still mostly been, every attempt to adapt it has been working. He's like, I want it to be on the friendship of Aubrey and Maturin. I want it to be on their longer voyage. I like, if we're doing essentially an origin story, we won't really have that. His favorite inspiration is 1984's The Far Side of the World, the 10th book. It's where they get the subtitle, but it is not a strict adaptation. They have some of the first book in there. They have some original stuff. John Colley, a Scottish-born physician and professor whose medical travels had taken him across the world before he settled in Australia, is brought in. He's like a novelist and screenwriter as well. He's brought in to help. I don't really know John Colley. What are his other credits?
Happy Feet.
Really?
Says here.
Wow.
Yeah, he wrote Happy Feet.
Okay.
Happy Feet.
I mean, one of the several writers
Yeah.
on Happy Feet.
Along with the lady from The Plumber.
But this is essentially his first movie, apart from a movie called Paper Mask, which is based on a book he wrote.
Okay.
Did 3 episodes of Star Cops on BBC Two in 1987.
What is Star Cops? Did you have any familiarity with Star Cops, David?
Sounds kind of cool. It's a British sci-fi
awesome.
thing from the 90s. Can't say I know this one. I was a Bugs guy. If anyone watched Bugs, hit me up. It was another BBC like kind of sci-fi cop show. It was really cool. It was set in like the near future because they would computer bugs. They would do like hacking shit.
Star Cops is set in a time when space travel has become common.
Yeah.
Mankind is in the process of exploiting and colonizing the solar system. They need cops. It takes place in 2027.
Do we need cops?
Yeah, I gotta say,
Hands
guys,
on hips.
I'm gonna a scab.
All space cops are bad?
Love that. So the
Extra ration
breakthrough
of grog
is
for Ben.
the breakthrough is, according to Colley, seeing the film as a dialogue about what it is to be a man. We're really writing about a family in which Jack is the dad, Stephen is the mom, Blakeney, Max Purkis, is the kid. The rest of the crew are the teenagers, right? You know, like that's how they think about it. And like, I think the Max Purkis character is so vital. The boy who loses his arm.
Yeah.
Because it's a really good performance. That kid's great. He ended up on Rome. I don't know what happened to him after that.
Yeah.
But you know, he was sort of around.
You know what? In 2016, he was appointed head of acquisitions and distribution at Embankment Films. So it sounds
cool. So he's just like
moved
in
to
the
other
British
side of
film
the
industry.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Other
side
because
of the
it just rocks that you're like, this is this tender relationship, but it's also a military relationship. Both Aubrey and Maturin have like separate relationships to him. You know, like Aubrey has the, you know, naval and talking about Nelson and stuff, but then he likes all the bugs and the stuff he does with Maturin. And then at the end, Aubrey's like, you're in charge of the ship. And then he is. And then he's like, we need to fucking storm them. And he's got a gun and he's got one hand and he's shooting French people.
Cool.
It rocks.
When he walks through the hole in the other ship.
And he's just like,
with a gun in one hand
is not
and no hand in the other hand.
It's crazy.
It's the greatest. Just do a show about him.
So I could do a show about anyone. Killick is my favorite. My favorite is when he says, my favorite moment in Master and Commander is when he says an extra grog of, you know, an extra ration of rum
for the two guys.
And Killick's like, we're saving the rum for saluting day. He's like, we'll drink wine. We'll drink wine on saluting day. And you're like, what the fuck is saluting day? And it's like, you don't have to know.
He's the captain's steward.
He's the only guy who talks back to, like, apart from Maturin does it like in a very formal way. McKillick is the one guy who's like, we're saving the rum for saluting day. I was.
Which is, it will be done when it's done. He's always starting sentences.
Which it is soused hog's face, sir. I love it when he says soused hog's face. Yeah. And Aubrey is like, yeah, that's my favorite. He loves soused hog's face.
My mom, my
you
mother
would think
loves
you hear hog face and you're like, fuck, it's hog face week.
When I was a kid and my
Aubrey's
parents,
like, bring it on.
When my parents said, "We're like, what are we having tonight?" Hog's face. I would be like, again.
You soused another face.
It sounds disgusting, but what it is you boil a hog's head.
The head.
You take off all the meat, and then you put it into a mold. And all the gelatin that's come out of the skull bones turns it into a terrine, and you slice it.
Yes, it's cold. You spread it like on toast.
Yeah, and my mom would eat it by the slice.
I personally, I love a pate. I don't like. I
never messed with it.
It doesn't sound like the greatest thing in the world.
I've
I think it was
never
a lot of jellying of things.
See, for
on
me,
ships.
when it was Monday at the school cafeteria and they served just up hog's head, I was excited. But then later in the week, when you're like, oh, it's like hog's head loaf, it's hog's head
right. When they're using every part of
what they're doing.
Hog's head tacos. Yeah. You're like, I'm tired of it by Friday.
Yeah.
right. So the beauty of the beauty of the books is the richness of the technical detail, the correctness of the dialogue. You know, the plots are good, but the incidents, the little stuff, that's why people love these books. Like, they love the detail. And it's perfect for us because we can just, achieve all this verisimilitude just by using the books. Like, it's all in there already. You don't need to do a zillion. He did all the research for you. The whole point of those books is they are very accurate. Like, they are really striving for, like, this is life.
Peter Weir is particularly good at capturing the minutia of worlds, of communities and worlds.
He always is.
So,
yeah.
It's a perfect match.
It takes him 2 years to write a satisfactory screenplay. And then
he stops, right? That's my work ethic. Is it satisfactory? Good.
Then Russell Crowe comes aboard, and he wanted to beef up their Maturin and Aubrey relationship a little bit more. So Akiva Goldsman, who of course had just written Beautiful Mind,
won an Oscar,
does some rewrites, which is interesting because I think of Akiva Goldsman, of course, as a master of trash, but he's also been involved in things I like.
Yeah. And at this moment, he's seen as hyper legit.
This is true.
Yeah.
Weir says his ideal choice would have been Richard Burton. Unfortunately, he was very dead.
Quite dead. Yeah.
And also, before he died, had been a little bit of a handful in those last 20 to 30 years of his career.
I would go as far as to say that at this point in time, Richard Burton was extremely dead, more dead than most, and that the last 20 years in which he was alive were also kind of death-like.
Exactly. I don't think Richard Burton would have maybe had his sea legs, one might say. But anyway, he turns to Russell Crowe, who correctly is the closest thing you're going to get to a Richard Burton type in 2000.
Yeah.
Ish, right? A big, burly fucking man who is a great actor and a movie star.
Yes.
But who like embodies like a kind of masculinity that a lot of guys don't.
I was listening to the Lex G podcast yesterday. And
Love the Lex G podcast.
The greatest. But
What's the name of it?
It's called the Lex G podcast.
Got it.
The world's greatest commenter has his own movie podcast. And he was talking about, he was doing kind of a new release roundup and doing this sort of like, why do I even see these movies anymore? Why do I still feel this compulsion to go?
This seems to be the constant existential crisis.
Why am I seeing Ready or Not 2 opening weekend, whatever? And then he was saying, like, I'm really trying to like watch more old movies, and I'd love to make the podcast more about old movies, but I feel like people won't listen. But I've been watching Ben-Hur because the 4K just came out, and he was just kind of waxing about Ben-Hur, and he was like, and fucking Charlton Heston. Like, we don't have anyone who can do this today. Like, no one acts like this anymore. No one can hold a movie like this and sort of know how to be larger than life, but also just steady at the center. And I was thinking, hearing this right before doing the rewatch, Crowe's career has been weird. Like 2001, right? You're like, this guy's the top of the fucking world.
And always will be.
He had 3 consecutive Oscar noms. He won the middle one. Gladiator was a massive blockbuster. Beautiful Mind was a massive blockbuster. And it was like, if this guy can do fucking big epics and intimate dramas, then he's everything. This guy's like Mel Gibson and Gregory Peck and Charlton Heston at the same time. And then he has gone off in 1,000 weird directions. There is the consistency of like, this was a reasonable hit, although obviously did not make as much as they wanted relative to the budget. And then you could basically say the same about Robin Hood and Noah, where like people went to see them.
Yes, they did. And again, it's the dad thing we're talking about of just that audience was bigger. He never
hit the Gladiator thing quite as big, but you were like, this is the only guy I would argue for the last 25 years who people buy doing this type of movie. And when they try to put someone else into this, even when it is a proven actor, like you get fucking Exodus Gods and Kings with Christian Bale as Moses, and everyone's like not buying it. You know? And then like Russell Crowe will hire a trainer and be like, I'm going to try to look like a person again for this one. And everyone's like, yeah, sure. Yeah. He's the one guy who can pull this shit off in our modern era.
Crowe and Weir obviously are both from Australia, but they never worked together. But obviously Crowe's at this point a gigantic movie star. He has made Gladiator when he gets signs on here. Beautiful Mind is about to come out. He's committed to Cinderella Man, which is going at that point to be made by Lasse Hallström. Ron Howard eventually makes that. That is the movie that comes, that's 2005. So that's his next movie after Master and Commander. He wants to do Master and Commander. And he says, can you wait while I do Cinderella Man? Like, can you wait a year? And Weir says, the ship sails with the tide. Nope, I'm not waiting. So Crowe decides to postpone Cinderella Man.
Yeah.
And instead boards the surprise. And that's probably tough on him because like Cinderella Man, he's playing a boxer. Like he's got to have the physique and all that. And you probably would want to do that. I mean, how old is Crowe? How old is Crowe when he makes this movie?
That's a great question. I'm going to guess 30. Are we going to realize that Crowe is significantly younger than I am right now in this film?
Russell Crowe is significantly younger than you are right now. He is 39 when this film comes out. So Crowe is basically just like, I could not stop thinking about it. Like, and he says, like, did I want to give up a chance to work with Peter Weir? I dreamed about working with Peter Weir my whole career. Like, he immerses himself. He loves the books. He finds that the later books turn off Aubrey into a bit of a buffoon, which he doesn't like. But he loves the character generally. He loves the teacher-student thing with the kids. He wanted to show the responsibility that Aubrey has having these kids on board. Because, like, to be clear, the officer class, as I'm sure you know, these are the young boys of like aristocracy.
Yes.
Who like, it's usually if you're like the fourth son, right? Like son 1, you're going to inherit the land. Son 2, you're the backup. Stick around. Son 3, maybe you marry next door neighbor who's going to inherit their land. Son 4, we don't know what to do with you. It sounds like you're going to a boat.
If you got some extra sons.
Yeah.
You send them to be midshipmen in the Royal Navy and to learn to be officers.
And if they'll rise and all that, but
they're so young.
But exactly, Ben, the absolute madness of like a 12-year-old outranking these like salty ass sea dogs.
Yeah.
And the way the whole like microcosm of British class happening on this ship. Like that there's no, like the great subplot of where that does start to get fucked with a little bit with the Jonah. But generally that like those lines don't get crossed and like the boys do get to sit at the front essentially and order everyone around.
And they get to wear those little hats and everyone's got to touch their hats. And Blakeney and Calamy, well, Blakeney's got to be 12 or 13. Calamy's maybe 16. Hallam is older. He's a midshipman.
Yeah,
and he's a real loser. Because he's 36 or something.
Yeah, he's like
his rating mate are all 16, 15, 14, 13 years old. He's just never passed that.
He's never gotten to jump right to a higher command or whatever.
Yeah.
A number of historians hired to consult on the movie said that Crowe could actually use his Australian accent, that would basically be acceptable considering like what British people talk like at the time and things like that. Crowe doesn't agree.
Because the Australian accent is sort of a throwback to some kind of old time.
I think that's sort of the idea, right? Like it's like, that's around when we're starting to fucking send British people out to Australia anyway.
When did England stop putting shrimps on the Barbie?
They call them prawns in England mostly.
They do in Australia too.
Yeah. So Crowe decides that'll just feel unnatural. So he goes to this kind of British accent, this like solid upper class,
That does feel like a fascinating version of, even if it's accurate, 99% of the audience is going to go, oh, so Russell Crowe was too lazy to do a British accent. You're not going to be able to fight the notion of like, is this guy cheating by using his real voice?
I feel like he was pretty well regarded for his accent because like the LA Confidential
the other
performance is so good.
I'm sure like that's part of the juice for him.
Yeah.
He's at this point a very like studious, obsessive actor.
It was 2003, so not as many people were eating shit online. There weren't that many commenters who were going to get up in there and start
was starting though.
Creating a narrative saying that he was too lazy or whatever.
Sure.
But it's still, I got to say, I hate this phrase, but it would have taken me out of it.
Yeah.
I would have been wondering why he's talking.
You question it.
They made the right call.
Yeah.
Weir is initially resistant to Bettany because of the Beautiful Mind thing.
Oh, sure.
He's like, is that too obvious? Do we need like a fresh combo? He also thinks Bettany is too tall. Like he's like, Matern is supposed to be the physical opposite of Aubrey. Like Bettany's pretty burly.
I was looking at the Wikipedia and the sort of people complaining, the book fans complaining at his casting at the time. Right. And the other thing that in the books, he is a spy.
Yes.
And they remove that element.
Well, they don't remove it because they nod to it. Okay. There's the moment early on when he says like they have their spies everywhere. And Aubrey's like, because yes, often Matern goes on spy missions because he's the greatest. Right. He's spy, cellist, naturist, surgeon.
You don't got to sell me on
surgeon.
Yeah. Auto surgeon.
But it sounds like in the books he is described as looking like Timothy Spall. That he's a little gargoyle-esque.
Obviously, that was never going to happen. Heath Ledger was considered, which makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Although then you got double Aussie,
double burly, too. I think.
Yeah.
Bettany though,
because even though Bettany's kind of a bigger guy than you think of, in the face,
he's got a
a fine bone structured face.
You're right.
Compared to the big hunk of like an Easter ham
Right.
that the Crowe has for his head.
Everyone in the cast, does a boot camp, right? They do a sort of like, you're going to learn how to sail. Bettany is like, no, thank you. And instead learns about like amputations and how to cut up fish. Russell Crowe says that every actor should sew their character's name into their t-shirts colored according to rank, as part of like a sort of, like, let's get into this
experience.
Right. Bettany refuses to do it. Bettany, he's consciously like, I want to feel apart from everyone. I want everyone to feel a little weirded out by me, because Maturin is kind of an oddity on the boat. Bettany says, like, nonetheless, like, we all bonded, not in a testosterone way, but you're really looking after each other. It's like 20 actors. They shoot this mostly in Mexico or off the coast of like Baja California and stuff like that.
Well, that's where the tank was.
Right.
Yeah.
Max Purkis was found at Eton College, Britain's fanciest school.
He's a fancy lad.
He's a fancy lad.
He's playing a fancy lad and he vibes fancy.
I was curious, Sims, he doesn't seem to still be working for Embankment, but I was like, what films has he worked on? And that announcement of him being hired to...
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Okay, so he's hired in 2016. Do you know what the first film Embankment does under his watch is, David?
Which is that?
The Wife.
Oh, what if there was one?
One of our greatest running bits. He was the one who asked the question, what if we bankrolled The Wife?
I mean, it's one of those movies where there's like 14 production companies. Like, that's a classic TIFF movie where you're like, I can arrive 10 minutes late. The various logos will still be playing. That's like Jim's Films.
That's a great way of putting it.
You know what I mean?
Jim's Films. I also found,
if you're at the premiere, there's like 10 people who are like, yay, Jim's Films, whatever.
I found the Screen Daily, Screen International news item about him getting hired at Embankment. And it has this whole thing, we nurtured one of the brightest. We're convinced that he's an industry star of the future. Embankment co-founder Hugo Grumbar and I vividly recall first meeting him and thinking, we've seen that guy before somewhere. Turns out he was amongst the lead actors in Peter Weir's Master and Commander.
He sure was.
It's funny in what is otherwise a pretty staid kind of press release to be like, and we were thinking, who is this guy?
His face looks familiar. I gotta say, when you Google him,
he's got the same face.
He's got a baby face. Yeah, he still looks like
he's
that.
He's got the same face.
Did he grow his arm back?
Yeah, he did.
I mean, the cast
He's got
rocks.
3 arms.
The cast is, James Darcy, who I adore, is a great, like, British
by the
TV
way,
actor.
I just got to say with regard to that, Ben, I mentioned to you, the boat is called the HMS Surprise. Okay? It's a smaller boat of the ships of the line. The Victory, which was the flagship, Admiral Nelson's boat, was about 250 feet long. Now, the Surprise, which was a real boat, 126 feet long. Now, I don't know if that's the length of the hull, Ben, or if that includes the bowsprit, the big long thing at the front. But it's much shorter boat. You see what I mean? Its beam is only 31 feet. It's got a draft of 14 feet and a half inch.
You are reading these off Wikipedia
It's a smaller,
right now.
No, it's all off the jump.
Okay.
His eyes are rolled back into his head like Stephen McKinley Henderson in Dune.
What's surprising about the Surprise for a boat that size, it's got not one, but 2 Jarvises on it.
It's a good point. Thank you for setting that up.
I was gonna.
James Darcy
is the original Jarvis.
It was kind of beautiful to watch that wind up and just
Jarvis. Like Howard.
I can go now.
Jarvis.
I'm ready to go.
And you know what? He's really fun in that show.
He is.
You know what else James Darcy is fun in? Pretty much everything. Anytime that guy shows up, it's
Cloud Atlas.
Amazing in Cloud Atlas.
But yes, he was original Human Jarvis in Agent Carter, and then they brought him back in Endgame.
He was recently in Oppenheimer as the guy who's not nice to Oppenheimer, and Oppenheimer almost poisons his apple.
Right.
Which is something that Oppenheimer really did.
It is this funny thing of like, I think of him as a guy who did not emerge until the 2010s. And I feel like you often have these discoveries watching movies where like the young supporting cast of recent drama school graduates are guys who are a decade away from finally breaking through.
He's a classic.
They're all Coronation Streets or Neighbors.
But like Andrew Scott being in like Band of Brothers, where you're like, isn't this way too early for Andrew Scott to be in a thing?
But they do a lot of BBC costume dramas and stuff. And like Darcy, I feel like is also one of those guys who was always on the Doctor Who list.
Oh, sure.
Like every time it came up,
makes a ton of sense.
He rocks. Obviously, it's so nice to see Billy Boyd. I feel like this is Billy Boyd's like like other big movie, basically.
Yeah. So I remember
he's great.
Dominic Moynihan doing an interview saying that this was like the peak of his depression and I think his drinking.
Boyd or Monahan?
Monahan.
Right.
Because he was like, I have this like double act with Boyd.
Now
we
he's
make
on
these 3
boat.
movies together. And then I couldn't book a gig for 2 years.
And then
So the movies are coming out, winning Oscars, and making tons of money. And Boyd's off on a fucking pirate ship. Not a pirate ship. The HMS
Ship of the line.
Yes. But he was like, I was like, he's going to keep booking and I'm stuck. And then basically right after this, it flips and Boyd
lost, right.
a little disappears a little bit. And then, Moynihan's on lock.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Boyd stopped having credits, but I do feel like, you don't really see him too much.
I gotta say, it was hard. This was a thing that took me out of the movie.
You kept
to
being
see
like,
him steering that ship.
What's Mary doing here?
He did a terrific job.
He's good.
You know what I mean?
I disagree with you, and I think you should apologize.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I don't want to get flogged.
The great Robert Pugh, who's who's Alan, one of the other officers. Like, there's just Lee Ingleby is really good. Like these are all British guys.
Who's the guy who jumps?
Oh, the Jonah?
Yes.
The guy's name is Lee Ingleby. Yeah, it's Lee Ingleby.
Oh, that's Lee Ingleby.
Yeah,
okay. Sorry.
He's in one of the. Oh yeah, he's in Azkaban. Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban. He's the guy who drives the night bus.
Or is he the driver or the conductor?
Yeah, he's Stan Shumpike.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, no, because the driver is. I can't remember who the driver is.
Yeah.
Peter Weir made his first 4 films, 4 of his early films though with Russell Boyd. Picnic, Wave, Gallipoli, Dangerously. Then John Seale has been his guy for a while, right? I forget who shoots Truman Show. Who shot Truman Show?
That's a really good question.
Thank you. It's such a good question by me. Peter Bizou.
Interesting.
Who shot Life of Brian? And a lot of
that's a thing that kept striking me while watching this movie. One of the guys on the boat looks so much like Eric Idle and looks like Eric Idle in makeup playing an older
Killick
boatman.
You're talking about Killick. That's David Threlfall.
Okay.
You know who he is?
Who?
He is William H. Macy in the original British Shameless. Which the British one is set in Manchester and is also about a loudish father who can't stop drinking and his 4 billion children.
Right.
And every time like one of the kids ages up and is like, I want to be a movie star and leaves the show, they're like, we found another fucking kid. There's so many kids under couch cushions in this house. But he's a great British
That makes
actor.
sense. He looks a lot like Eric Idle in this. He looks like Eric Idle.
I keep expecting him to
in a
wink,
sketch.
wink, nudge or something.
And then at the end of this movie, when they come across the French, I was like, this really feels like the rude, taunting Frenchman.
Yeah.
From
and he's wearing these weird bandages on his head that look comedic.
Yes.
Yeah.
One day, purely by accident, Russell Boyd is on an airplane going to Los Angeles.
Okay.
And they sit side by side. Peter Weir and he. They hadn't worked together in many years. He wonders if Weir arranged it. He didn't realize it was going to happen. And
Weir
he starts
takes
saying
out a sword on the plane.
Yeah.
No, he starts saying, like, I'm making this boat movie at
It was
Fox.
before 9/11, so you could bring your naval cutlass on a plane at the time.
It's Master and Commander. He starts explaining it, scene by scene. And Boyd's like, that sounds great. And he's like, let's get dinner tomorrow. I'll drop you to the script. And then Boyd comes back on board. This is the first time they worked together. And of course, Russell Boyd won the Oscar.
Had there been an estrangement?
I don't think so. It's just like he started using John Seale, who was the assistant on some of the earlier stuff. And then, he went to Hollywood.
Russell Boyd takes good pictures.
Also, I'm looking at Russell Boyd's 90s, and it's like White Man Can't Jump, Operation Dumbo Drop, Tin Cup, Liar Liar, Dr. Dolittle. None of those movies are poorly shot.
No.
But I could see that guy being like,
this
I want to fucking challenge
Not
again.
known for their visual beauty necessarily.
No.
And then probably there's
right.
cool stuff to see if you were to rewatch them.
And the early Weir films were challenging productions that
totally
probably activates a guy like this.
Exactly. That's like you hear about Picnic and Hang Rock and stuff of him like figuring out how to do stuff with no money. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I just watched that last night in advance of this. And I was like, one of the most visually interesting movies I've ever seen.
It's so gorgeous. And they made it for $5.
The Year of Living Dangerously is one of the most completely different, but so spectacularly shot.
The air, the way, any movie that can make the air feel dense.
Yeah.
Peter originally wants to do a Waterworld thing. He wants to shoot the whole thing.
He's also one of history's wettest directors.
Peter Weir.
He is true.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Last Wave.
He gave us The Last Wave.
Truman Show. Yeah.
They
Like
ultimately
the rain and the green car department.
True. Dead Poet Society is set entirely underwater.
Kelly
Never gets mentioned.
McGillis taking a bath.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. I mean, she's gotta take a bath.
They ended up
running
getting
around all day.
10 days on the actual seas.
Well, here we go. So I'm going to tell you, like, he wants to shoot entirely on the water, and they're like, look, that's Waterworld. You
Right.
need a floating ship trailing with you.
Right.
If
It
you're
was
going to
a
do a
disaster.
reverse shot, everyone's got to wait while the ship like moves. Like it's like
The
it will be
entire
a
industry
nightmare.
learned our
Like,
lesson on that
exactly.
movie. Like everyone took notes from that calamity.
And so Weir's like, fine, maybe we should build a set, in a tank. And like, I wonder who would know anything about that. James Cameron.
This is the thing. The other kind of miracle of this movie is just being close enough to Titanic that
Correct.
James Cameron had done the legwork to build out the system to be able to basically shoot this on a gimbal in a tank
Ridley
of a proper size.
Scott had made both 1492 and White Squall, I think, in a tank in Gibraltar, but that tank was in disrepair. Like only a few years between like Titanic and White Squall,
These
but like
things-
it's enough.
Yes.
It's fucked up. Then they're like, are we going to have to build a tank?
Mhm.
And Weir's like, I don't want to build a tank. And then James Cameron's like, Mexico.
I have a
Titanic tank.
I have a tank.
in Baja.
It has a deep channel where they could put the set on a big gimbal so you can like move the boat around. It has shallow water so you could put people waist deep if you need to. In Titanic, when the ship sinks nose first, that was on a gimbal.
Oh, that's a spoiler.
Yeah. So they had to fuck with things because of the way the Mexican tank was built for Titanic.
But to your point, David, these things need a lot of maintenance, and studios are not making like 7 boat pictures a year.
Maybe they should. Maybe just to keep these tanks
Yeah.
usable, they should just make a boat picture every year.
But
I
probably-
guess there's Perfect Storm, and
Yes,
that
was
did
2000.
crazy tank stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
that was a lot of CGI waves. I remember
those
when
are
that
good
came
waves. Cool
out. They're great
waves.
waves, but I remember talking to a visual effects guy before that came out saying waves are the thing. When we can do waves, that would
Yeah.
be the most amazing thing.
And then they cracked it.
and then they cracked it, and that's all I could see. In
Shooting inside the ship, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Okay,
sorry,
go ahead.
but I just think it's an interesting hypothetical to entertain. Had the order flipped and Russell Crowe did a Cinderella Man first, they probably would not have had a workable tank.
Possibly. Might have gotten all
Like the
fucked
difference
up.
of
Who
18
knows?
months, you know?
Yeah,
I don't. But I will tell you that
would
they
have
didn't.
scum of algae on the top.
They didn't want to remove ceilings and walls.
Okay.
They wanted to use these cramp sets to their advantage.
Sure.
Like, let's actually have it be like, let's just shoot inside the ship. They bought a ship for $1.5 million. They moved it out of Bridgeport, where it had been a tourist attraction. It had been designed to fight in the 7 Years' War. It was in a few existing vessels that they could use.
Mhm.
Then they make it over, new engine, sails, rigging, decks. Then they build a full-size replica in the tank. So like they have the
Oh,
real
wow.
ship on the
Okay.
water. They
Yeah.
have the replica in the tank.
The real ship I understand to be the Rose. Does that show
yes,
up?
the Rose. Yeah.
Yeah.
$1.5 million. Do you have $1.5 million?
No, I don't. But I
can have it
I
in
just
2003.
learned. I just learned that the Mary Day, the 2-masted wooden sailing schooner that I trained on
Sure.
as a midshipman,
Is up for
is
grabs.
for sale for $550,000.
But then it's like you got to park it. It's like you don't just buy a boat and then you're like, great, I have a boat. Then
There
it's
may
like
be
this-
some costs associated with
Right.
maintaining an old wooden boat.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, is it if you bought like a fucking plastic speedboat, even that, it's like you got to fucking put it somewhere,
No
right?
comment. But I don't have a plastic speedboat either. But yeah, the good news is gas is cheap because it doesn't have it.
Sure, you got the only gas you need is
You got
that win.
air gas.
I think this movie was a little bit hard to make.
Yeah.
What?
I just want to follow up quickly in you saying that if John had $1.5 million in 2003 money, he could own the Rose. Do you know where the Rose is today? It was purchased in 2007 by the Maritime Museum of San Diego and officially re-registered as the HMS Surprise. So it exists permanently as the Surprise.
Oh, you can. Oh, fuck! I got to get to San Diego.
You do,
No.
my man.
I'm gonna. Text
I think that Patrick O'Brien, I had read somewhere, had been on the Rose, and he said this is essentially the same ship as the Surprise, both historically and in his novels, because it was a real ship that he sort of adopted to put into the novels. And they immediately, he said, the only thing different is a coat of paint.
It does
and they
say,
immediately repainted it as to look like the Surprise back then.
It does say on the Wikipedia, by 2024, the ship was in a worn condition with deteriorating paint and timbers.
Well, we gotta go spruce it up.
Yeah. Also, they cast the ship in Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
But it's probably like some fucked up boat.
The HMS Providence. Yeah. But otherwise, it's at the museum.
Film has 700 plus effects shot, but Peter Weir did not want the film to look like The Perfect Storm. He wanted to use miniatures and stuff, mostly for the, storms and all that.
Weta built a bigature, right? Like a giant miniature ship, I believe. I saw the Weta.
That sounds awesome. I can tell you, according to Nathan McGinnis from Asylum, another VFX company, there's not one piece of ocean in that storm sequence that isn't real.
Wow.
CGI water is obviously more controllable, but I thought, this is the more believable solution. So while they're in post-production, fear begins to circulate around the studios. They realize the film has no villain. They realize the film has no romance. They could have read the script.
Those are usually things that are in a movie.
It is fair to say that this film begins with them getting their shit rocked. Then lots of things happen, but there is no more real action. The storm in the middle is an action sequence, but there's no real battles. And then at the end, there's an awesome battle.
Yeah.
But it is defying, I would say, some Hollywood, kind of like plotting sort of mechanics.
It also feels like Tom Rothman maybe consciously played goalie to prevent people from noticing this earlier.
right. And then the movie's deep in post-production, the bills are getting sent and they're like, you're telling me there's no women at all in the movie. It's like, a Brazilian lady has an umbrella for 5 seconds.
Yeah. And
they say hi to her.
Yeah. He smiles. He's like, oh, she smiled at me.
That shot is in the trailer, which is hysterical.
Yes.
They clearly were like, can you put it in the trailer?
There's going to be a colonial romance.
The film was going to come out in June.
Yes, I remember this.
We wanted more time for effects, so they pushed it to November. That does mean that their lunch gets eaten by Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever,
which comes out in July.
Although that was obviously another film that the studio was like, why the fuck did we make this boat movie? We're about to be in so much trouble.
There was this. I remember in the lead up to that movie, it being,
Pirates?
Yes.
It was a curse of pirate movies.
Well, beyond just, are they really fucking going to make movies out of rides now? We had no idea how bad things were going to get.
Yeah, right.
That things would be based off of, movies would be based off things that had even less of a narrative.
Sniffy about shit at the time.
Right. But there was also this Disney spending $150 million on a pirate movie. Every pirate movie has flopped for the last 40 years. And I remember trend pieces that were like, here's everyone who has tried and failed to make a pirate movie since the 50s. This is a losing effort. So the fact that then Pirates of the Caribbean, this is where I argue the movie got a little fucked by it, is that the fact that Pirates of the Caribbean overperformed so wildly then made people go like, oh, the boat curse is gone.
Right.
Yeah, I mean...
But a rising tide did not raise all ships in this case.
Right. I think this movie would have been viewed as more successful had Pirates of the Caribbean not raised the tide, the stranger tide.
Definitely, because it makes 93 domestic, 211 worldwide, and it gets 10 Oscar nominations, which I'm sure Fox was fairly happy about.
It wins Best Director at the BAFTAs.
Is that right?
Is that
so?
Yep.
Is that so?
He beat Jackson.
I'm not steeped in the financial business of Hollywood, but I would imagine that at that box office, given the amount of investment and the difficulty of making the movie, everyone except Tom Rothman felt like, fuck, we just escaped by the skin of our teeth.
I think a little bit.
And
I think the Oscar noms...
We did it. Let's move along.
I think the Oscar noms made it a kind of like, well, look, we made a prestigious, well-received movie. So okay. But no one is like, yeah, you're right. He won Best Director.
I was surprised to see that.
Yeah.
This movie also had an incredibly well-selling DVD.
No, that's the thing.
Even as much as the cult grew over time.
No.
There was that immediate 2-disc kind of, this is one of those film school in a box DVD releases with every detail about the making of the movie that sold incredibly well. But I think, yes, it was sort of like, Tom, we let you do this one time. It did not make fuck you money where the argument is over.
It would have taken fuck you money to continue making these movies.
The other part of it is, everyone had a difficult time making it, and Peter Weir and Russell Crowe notoriously were always kind of butting heads.
I think, there's nothing in the research about that, but I have heard occasionally that Russell Crowe has a bit of a strong personality.
Yes.
And of course, right, Ethan Hawke did say later in life, like, I think working with Jim Carrey and Russell Crowe, like, really, like, broke Peter's back a little bit.
And Johnny Depp's the other one. On Shantaram, which doesn't happen.
Right.
But that he did 2 years of development on Shantaram.
Oh, that Ethan Hawke quote.
Shantaram.
Yes.
So
I will say, no, a couple people who've worked on this movie have off the record sent DMs to myself and other people involved with the podcast and have shared Russell Crowe anecdotes that I'm not going to share here, but just a lot of like, have you heard that story about this fight they got on? It feels like they were just constantly locking horns.
Yes.
And this is a moment where Russell Crowe feels unstoppable.
It is his apex in terms of that power.
Yeah.
Because like this movie, like Beautiful Mind doing so well.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, can this guy do anything?
Did he almost win 2 Best Actors in a row?
He almost did.
Yeah.
And then like Master and Commander does like good, but okay. Because and like the poster's his face.
Yeah.
You know. Then Cinderella Man similarly was like definitely a hit.
But not a mega hit
they wanted.
He also never gets an Oscar nomination again. And this year people were like, he's on the bubble. He might make it to the 5 on the strength of the movie. Didn't happen. Cinderella Man, it was like, he maybe gets in there just because everyone loves Russell Crowe and he got all these precursors. Doesn't get in. Never gets close to an Oscar.
I would say he never got even close again. I mean, his best performance after this is obviously The Nice Guys, which he's so incredible.
But it's also the turning point where you look and it's like Noah's 2014 and 2016. He shows up in The Nice Guy looking like a grizzly bear. And it's like, this is who he is now.
That's who he is
Noah
now.
Noah is 2014?
2014.
And Noah...
So much later than I remember.
That's his last...
much earlier than I remember.
Proper, like, Russell Crowe starring in a big hit movie.
And it's the end of the 4 of what we're talking about, of him being the last of kind of the old school epic movie stars.
Because like the year after Nice Guys is The Mummy, where it's like, you are second banana to Cruise here, like at best. And then like he just enters the phase he's in now, which begins really when he plays Jor-El in Man of Steel, which is the year before Noah.
Yeah.
But like, you play dads, mentors, villains. If you're the lead, it's a trashy movie like Unhinged or the fucking Exorcist one or the other Exorcist one.
I never saw the Pope's Exorcist.
Yeah, well, the Pope.
Yeah.
I figure he probably hires a good one.
Those things a little different. It's kind of like when the Pope needs a really, really nasty exorcism.
Is the other one called The Last Exorcism?
It's just called The Exorcism.
He did another Exorcist movie like within 2 years of the Pope's Exorcist that's about him playing a guy who plays an exorcist in movies, an actor,
correct,
and then gets drawn into a real exorcism. He needs to make a 3rd now. He can't just stop at 2.
It's not the same character, though. It's not.
No, it's entirely unrelated.
Different, relatively forgotten movies.
Yes.
He's a guy who works all the damn time.
Yep.
It's like, it's not like Hollywood's forgotten about Crowe and it's not like Crowe's forgotten about movies.
No.
He works constantly.
And he still will be in big things. It still kind of means something to be like and Russell Crowe in a movie.
Right.
Shall we set the sails?
Yeah, no. Okay. So the year is 1805. Napoleon is master of Europe. Only the British fleet stands before him. Oceans are now battlefields. This is not important to the movie, really. But like, this is set basically at the sort of peak of Napoleonic power, 1805. Like, it is possible that Napoleon is going to conquer essentially the world, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, him losing the Battle of Trafalgar,
and by colonial extension, the world.
Right. Like, this is Napoleon being like, I'm going to conquer the United Kingdom, and he loses at the Battle of Trafalgar, and that's sort of like
that was kind of his Waterloo, right?
Well, his Waterloo is actually the Battle of Waterloo.
That's
which
a joke I was
10 years later. I know,
just want some credit for Scottie Pippening you on that one.
Great joke.
Thank you.
The Napoleonic Wars continue for 10 years. Like, they keep fighting and all that, but like, this is sort of the moment where it's kind of like, is this it? You know, is Britain finally going to get conquered? Because Britain had stood unconquered for 700 years, basically. We're on about
28 guns, 197 souls.
This is true.
They are in the northern coast of Brazil.
They sure are.
It sounds like a lot of guns and souls, Ben.
It's actually kind of a small ship.
Yeah.
The surprise, obviously, is pursuing the privateer Acheron, the French privateer.
The privateers are kind of shady.
They're pirates, basically. They've been contracted by governments.
Licensed pirates.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think I might have been a privateer if I was alive in these days. I have to admit it.
I think John, with all respect to your skills and your experience,
such as they are,
as a boatsman,
as an able seaman,
I do think Ben would do the best of the four of us if dropped into this time.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd be. What do we have to do?
I'd be grabbing a cannonball and running to the side immediately.
Right.
I would know immediately.
I'm thanking a little kid for always being nice to me and then jumping off the side of a ship.
Yeah,
that's what
right.
I'm doing.
I'm like
immediately.
I'm like, point me in the direction of the fucking cannon.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Right.
Right. I would not want to be near
the job
cannons.
you would want?
Cannon man?
Yeah. Cannon man. Which would you like? You want to light it or do you want to shove the things down?
I want to light that fucker.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I think if a wormhole opens and Ben gets dropped onto a ship in this era, he is within 6 months the king of a country.
Probably so. Probably so.
Oh, you think he would rally the men? Like,
I think he could rally anything he fucking wanted. Yeah. I think he would know how to talk to these people in a way that we would fail.
We're on the boat.
Just throw a dirty joke
creaking
out.
and groaning. Okay. I just want to say something. Like, we see Killick getting an egg out of like these little pens that clearly have the chickens in them.
Well, this is what Peter Weir does.
This is what I'm talking about. We see these two boys
sets some fucking tables in his movie.
It's it's the middle of the night, so the midshipmen are in charge of it. Like Aubrey's taking some rest.
Taking his rest.
So we've got Hollum and Killick and the kids.
Can we talk about the creaks and groans?
The sound of the film is unbelievable.
Mr. Hodgman, this film gets 10 Academy Award nominations.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is the same year as Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Yeah.
Which was just, everyone basically decided.
That's right.
We have to reward the trilogy. We're giving this.
They spilled their able semen over
It's a clean
movie.
sweep, as Steven Spielberg said.
Yeah.
It dominates basically all categories.
Bad luck for the surprise. There's a Jonah on board.
This wins cinematography and sound mixing because those are two of the only categories Lord of the Rings isn't nominated in.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I still don't know why it wasn't nominated for sound editing because Lord of the Rings has very good sound editing. I don't really know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
But this did win that.
The sound in this is unbelievable.
Yes.
It jumped out to me really fucking hard watching it this time.
It's vital.
Well, one of the reasons I think it is so impressive, and in the sense that it leaves an impression, is that these boats have no engines. And so it is the balance of silence and sound and the alien feeling of hearing those sounds, because it is not something that most people have experienced. Being on a ship of that size,
it is
making
also,
those little sounds.
It is also very important because the reason Hollum is being summoned to the front of the ship at the start of the movie is the watchman is like, I think I heard a bell.
Right.
He thinks he heard a ship's bell. Like, he didn't even see a ship.
Right.
He just heard something. And they're kind of like, all right, what is this? He says, the lead, if you please. What's the lead?
So then the lead is literally a big hunk of lead at the end of a very long line. And there's a depression in the bottom of it. So imagine it looks like this can of cold brew coffee. And there's a little depression in the bottom of it. And when you want to know what the surface below you is like, you drop the lead. It hits the bottom of the ocean floor wherever you are. It tells you how deep it is. And when you pull it up, the condition of the floor is like it picks up dirt.
Right.
You like dirt, right?
Sure.
This is ocean dirt.
Wow. And the wettest of dirt.
It might be gravel. It might be mud and shells. Mm-hmm. This is when you're anchoring, you need to know what the condition of the seafloor is. So that you know, first of all, how deep it is. So you know how much anchor road to pay out.
The answer is 5 fathoms. Just
5 fathoms in this case. And a fathom, I think, is 6 feet.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I love that they show you them calculating knots later on. Like,
with knots.
The fucked up way they had to do that, where it's like there's the rope with the knots tied in it, and then a guy doing this, and a guy
work in this movie is crazy.
It's incredible.
It is perhaps the most impressive rope work ever done.
What's the left and what's the right?
Port and starboard.
Excuse me. At this time, it would have been starboard and larboard.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
That's kind of
dorky.
They changed it to port because they're like, we don't know what we can't hear.
And
what
help
you're
me
saying.
out here. Forecastle, but how did they say forecastle? Forecastle. Like the way, like why they doing that?
Why they do it, I do not know. But yes, the The front of the boat is called the
forecastle, but you spell it FO''C''S''LE,
right?
Which is sort of pronounced foxel.
Or sometimes they spell it forecastle, but you still pronounce it forecastle. And the top mast is called the top gallant, but they call it the t'gallant.
Now, is
and
the
stun sail is called a stunsail?
Is the poop deck what I think it is?
No,
it's one of my favorite Simpsons lines. when Homer joins, he's like in a submarine. Remember that episode? It's kind of like when the Simpsons is starting to get stupid.
Right. Homer can do anything.
Right. Exactly.
And
he says, is the poop deck what I think it is? And like the Admiral guy is like, I like the cut of your jib. And Homer's like, what's a jib?
May I say a thing about the sound?
Of course.
When Ben, Marie, and I went to Los Angeles last summer for the American Cinematheque Friend of the Fest, we went to the Academy Museum that has a room to try to explain to you the art of sound in movies, where they show you like a 15-minute featurette with Peter Weir shot like 2 or 3 years ago. It's using behind the scenes footage from the time of filming, but it's him speaking more recently and all of his team explaining the art of sound design in a movie using this film. It is a thing that I think is exclusive to the Academy Museum, was made for them. And they have all these signs saying like, you can only see this here. But the thing he said that has stuck with me was he had his team, they went to the books, they looked through all the books, and anytime a sound was described and said like, that's what we got to replicate, right? Let's really get into the specifics of what he is trying to evoke of these noises. They sort of put together a test sample kind of, here's sort of what we're thinking is the soundscape for this movie. And they show it to him and he's like, that's fucking great. I love that. Keep going. Awesome. And then they work on it and they refine it and they bring it back to him and they show it to him. And he's like, I think the last version was better. And he said the realization he made was that they had, with the extra time and giving it, doing the real version, had worked really hard to justify every single specific sound. They looked at every element on screen and they were like, we have to account for that and this and the timing and this and that. Versus the rough pass version they did was just sort of like, these are the kind of sounds we want to have like circulating around. And he was like, when it became too justified and you were trying to account for everything, it was cacophonous and it didn't work.
Right.
There was something kind of expressionistic to the feeling of what they showed me the first time. And I was like, literally, just go back to that version. Delete this new file, go back to that, and do the rest of the movie that way. So it's kind of freestyled a little bit, as much as it's like based in a lot of research and with intentionality. He was like, don't worry about completely matching on-screen action.
Yeah. And, again, this is completely world that is pretty alien to our experience in this year. And in a sense, you have to be impressionistic because a lot of the sounds that they might have been larding up the soundtrack with would be sounds that the sailors had stopped hearing long ago because it's idle background chatter to them. Whereas the sound of a bell in the distance,
you hear the bell.
This is one of the things.
He comes out. Hallam can't defend himself. It's an early example of him not having a bit of a backbone where he's like, well, I saw a shape maybe over there. And Aubrey's like, okay, well, you beat to quarters, but you did the right thing. Everyone's winding down. And then like Aubrey does the one last look, right? Yeah. He's almost done. And he's like, And then you just see the sail for like 1 second because it's being lit up by the cannon. And it's like,
you don't hear the cannon.
No,
which is such an incredible.
That's in the books a lot. He really talks about in the books, like the sound, the way the sound would hit after
light
the cannon fire
tends to travel faster than sound. So you see the muzzle flash in the fog, and it's just it's such an incredible way to open a movie where you're learning so much.
Right.
In such a
let's see them all go to action now.
Yeah. And, you're learning so much about how this world works in a completely non-intrusive and non-screenplay-y way. Not only are you learning about who Hallam is immediately, but the efficiency and the economy which Weir introduces and guides the eye in a way that is not
to give you an example, some things.
It is really sweet.
You see guys start to man the cannons, right? You get that. You see the guys in red coats. Now, Ben, have you noticed that there are some guys, and Griffin, everyone, in red coats on the ship? Yes. That's the army. They live on the ship too, but they're not in the Navy. They're kind of their own thing on the ship. They're Marines, yeah. You know what I mean? Like they're for fucking invading shit, for the battle.
So most of the crew on a ship like this would be gunners, your pals. Because it takes 3 or 4 guys to operate a single cannon, and there are 28 of them. So they're all sleeping in those hammocks above their cannons because the ship is just packed with these guys. And then there are the sailors, but they're not
who deal with the sails.
Yeah, they're in the Navy, but they're not trained hand-to-hand combatants necessarily.
The
Marines,
and then you
have the Royal Marines
are the guys who have the bayonets and
they're the ones who literally beat to quarters. When you call beat to quarters, one of the Royal Marines bangs a drum. He beats the drum, and quarters describes the rhythm that he beats, which alerts the whole ship that they're going to battle stations.
Aubrey, he's like, run up our colors. One of the kids is like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're putting up it. And then Killick, I love this, gives him his hat. Yeah. Where it's like, okay, we're going from we heard a sound mode to hat mode.
Yeah.
You got to put hat on now.
Shit's fucked up moments on the ship. Yeah. Ship happens.
And then the guy goes like this. And what's on his hands?
So the tattoo.
Hold fast.
What is that? What is that guy? Who's
that guy?
He's the guy who gets the dent in his head and then gets a coin and becomes the dread prophet of the ship. Right?
Correct.
What's his name?
I forget his name. He's obviously my husband and best friend. Right. But I don't know his name. But
why don't you get that tattooed on your fingers, David?
That's a really good question.
That should be your first tattoo.
If you were ever going to get a tattoo, I feel like it would be
I think it might be a little bit stolen valor, given that I am not a naval person.
I
don't think I really have enough of a sort of sea, history.
I think it's a general enough term. You
British
can say
naval.
You did it for a different reason. You could get a little
saltier.
You can just say, I like holding things quickly.
I'm going to scam you up to Maine one of these days.
I'd love
to. The point is, the ocean is a metaphor.
I'm trying to think. This ship is England, of course.
Right. And I also heard that oceans are now battlefields.
I think this ship is England is technically a metonym.
Right.
I'm out.
So they get their ship rocked, and it's their ship rocked. And it's very intense battle sequence. People get bloody. People die. Obviously, boy loses a limb. All this, right? All this insane stuff happens. We're introduced to Maturin, where he basically clears all his shit off the table because it's I'm going to be operating on people. Put sand on the floor.
Yeah, so you're not slipping around on the blood.
So fucking
and
crazy.
Also the water.
And yet there's also this kind of everyone's kind of calm. It's you know what I mean?
I'll tell you, I was not calm.
This is just their daily life.
This is their
life. Is their job. They train for this moment.
This is bad.
The thing. It's not their daily life.
But it is bad.
But they do train for this moment. Or maybe their monthly, or maybe their yearly life. And one of the things that I love about this movie is that unlike any other ship movie that I've ever seen, whether that is a sailing ship or a motor ship or a spaceship
or friendship, when you're in space or at sea in that ship, the world is small. You're constantly running into other ships.
Sure. Yeah.
There are aliens coming this way or that, whatever. And this movie really captures the vastness of the ocean and, frankly, the absurdity of their mission.
And that a lot of times it's just going to be another day on a creaking ship.
Their mission is to find the what do they call it in English? The Acheron?
Yeah.
And then it's Acheron in French or whatever. But it's this French privateer has been harassing ships. Go get him.
Yeah. He's basically up and down the coast of Brazil. Right. Yeah.
You know how big the Atlantic Ocean is?
I don't know, 20 to 30 feet?
It's maybe 50. The idea that you're going to find this thing is itself insane. And if it turns out that the Acheron hadn't been looking for them too, apparently, or at least spotting them and wanting to get them.
The idea is as they sort of allude to, is the Acheron knew where they were going to be, essentially. Right. That's what they're kind of guessing at. And he's they came upon us in the fog.
Right.
Right.
It's incredible. And the idea that they're even going to find each other, never to even bother having this battle, is it could take weeks or months before it ever happened. And those slow speed chases, it's it conveys not only the size and the isolation of this wooden world they live on, but also, I think, all of this humanity. This is what I was thinking of as those cannonballs were coming through, right? All of this human ingenuity that goes into building the ship and manning the ship and sailing the ship and everything. It's all packed into this microscopic dot
I love
on the ocean.
The way they portray the maintenance of it too.
Yeah, no,
and it's so interesting and not a thing I really have ever thought about.
And you look at this ship, and it's like every inch of it is this amazing piece of human craft work. The molding in the captain's day cabin is like, and it's all getting blasted to shit by these cannonballs.
Which is really rude.
All this work has gone into making this thing.
Yes.
And only French people
do
human
that.
ingenuity and murderous intent.
British Navy, they would just
away.
say, "Could you please stop?" And people would. You know,
Yeah.
they never fired cannons at anybody.
I was thinking this during Gallipoli too. That
9 dead, 27 wounded. Just to tell you, is the count. What happens in Gallipoli?
No, just that like with the senior officers who you see at like the top of the hill watching the young boys do the basic training. You're like the ornateness of their uniforms. This sort of like lost notion of the military has to look really fucking fancy.
Sure.
Like there's the battle we're waging, but also it's like we want to impress people with our class.
Yeah, you gotta have nice uniforms.
We want to beat their asses while also seeming more sophisticated and cultured. It's a psyop.
The whole fast guy's name is Place, because it's when they're looking at the casualties after. You know, we're in casualty mode now. They drag the boat essentially away with rowboats.
What does casualty mode mean?
I just mean like it's just like after the fact. Like they're counting. You know, you see the guy who's like pumping water out.
You're counting the casualties.
Yeah.
Okay.
9 people are dead. Maturin walks Aubrey around and he's like, you know, Place has got a fucking skull fracture or whatever. He probably will die. Turns out he doesn't. They go see Blakeney, Max Purkis, his arm is messed up. And Maturin says, like, I know you know this boy's father.
Right.
Like, I'm doing everything I can. Like, I don't.
Does this character show up in the books later? Is this a character from the books, Blakeney? In your memory?
I do not want to mess up anything here. I know, I'm sure there are. And there is of course a Maturin, Aubrey and Maturin wiki that I can consult for this. So let me check. William Blakeney. Yes. He is in the movie. That's it. He's created for the movie.
He's created
That's what
for the
I thought.
movie.
That's what I thought. I mean, I think there's a lot of characters like this.
Well, good job.
I don't know the full extent. I think the O'Brien fans generally think positively of this movie because imagine how bad an adaptation could have been.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if you are intensely nerdy about the books, the movie it only can do so much for you. Maturin never does any spy stuff in it, blah, blah, blah. You know, they never go to shore. You never understand the complex nature of being in the Navy and how your money, the money you made was based on like the boats you captured and the treasure you got, basically.
That's why they keep talking about the prize.
Yeah.
The prize that we're going to get if we capture the
it's not about like making a salary. It's all like you earn your keep by like fucking up other ships and stuff. Like it's such a crazy system.
You're cannoning on commission, Ben.
But you're getting rum too.
Yeah, but you know why they drink rum?
Because they get fucked up.
Well, that's true.
Because it's fucking boring.
Because like you could keep fruit in it and stuff, so like it would be, it's sort of nutritionally good, but I think also like it would last, right? Like isn't that the whole thing with rum? I'm not a rum guy, I will say. I'm rarely getting a rum. Yeah,
sure. From time to time, but
I feel like that's the only context in which I have rum.
Kind of the same.
Who was the ship's mixologist on the surprise?
I mean,
it was the guy with the wax mustache.
I feel like
we're both going for the same.
I feel like these days,
it's the guy dressed like Ryan Reynolds in If.
Imagine if you were like, "What's your drink?" and you were like, "Rum." Like I would just be like, "What do you mean rum?
Straight rum?
Yeah, what do you get? Right, rum on the rocks.
That's a good point.
Rum and Coke.
Sure,
that's like sugar. It's
that's
gross.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's the same with tiki drinks,
like
where you're like anyone who's drinking rum is combating rum with so much sugar and fruit.
Right. I mean, like if I'm at poolside, I guess I'll take a rum drink.
But do people? I'm sure the answer is someone. Yes.
Yeah.
But like, how many people sit at a bar and go like, "Can I have 4 fingers of rum neat?"
I mean,
maybe I should. Maybe I should see what happens.
You should be a straight rum guy.
And there's like spiced rum and all that stuff. That's like that stuff's nice.
Well, we should, of course,
Griff, should we pop over to Sunken Harbor after this and just have some
they certainly. They're keeping Bacardi in business over there.
Yeah, it's easy to go yo-ho-ho mode over there at the Sunken Harbor Club.
So then everyone gathers, and they're basically like, look, we rock, we love, we love to be on the HMS Surprise, but like the ship that just beat us is a better ship. It's bigger, it's faster, it's more powerful. Like we cannot try to like engage this ship. It's very important, I think, to this movie because it like lays out Aubrey and Maturin's relationship immediately, where Maturin's the only one who's kind of like, I mean, pardon me, but like, are we not on something of an aged ship?
Oh, and boy, does Russell Crowe get mad at that.
It is the best. It should be Crowe's Oscar clip for the Oscar he should have won for this film, because obviously this film should have won every single Oscar, including Best Actress.
Yeah.
They should have given it to the Brazilian umbrella lady.
Well, Anna Paquin, whose role is impactful, even though she doesn't speak.
Right
or the boat, right?
Or the HMS Surprise, who, he says, "Would you call me an aged man of war doctor?" And Matern's like, "Oh," he's like, "Surprise is not old. No one would call her old. She has a bluff bow, lovely lines. She's a fine sea boat." I want to say all this. Weatherly, stiff and fast. Very fast if she's well handled. Then he touches the boat, says, "No, she's not old. She's in her prime." It's the best line ever delivered by an actor.
Is this your version of the "he loves to pull the cork" monologue?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like the love, he like touches like a sort of mantle, and then he kind of picks at one of the wounds.
Well, that's the thing.
There's like
that,
the fireplace has been shattered.
Hand-carved mantelpiece has been just had a fucking cannonball shoved through it.
But it's just that like where everyone's kind of like, I think we need to refit. I think we need to go to a port and chill out. And Aubrey's like, yeah. I mean, Matern's like, yeah, isn't this boat old? And Aubrey's like, this boat is not old, and neither am I.
Right.
Like, and we can do whatever we need.
And he's worked on this boat for many years.
You see that he carved his name into it when he was a midshipman or whatever, and he says
when
his
he
blood
was
is
probably
in the
13
boat.
or 14 or
right.
Yeah.
The idea would have been like he's been on other boats. He's like served other commands and all that stuff, and he's come back to it because yes, he loves this boat. In the books, I believe that's how it goes. See, the HMS Surprise is his main boat. It's not the only boat that he's on. Then,
really? He's got a couple side boats?
Yeah, that's right. Well,
and sometimes he'll like capture a foreign boat, and then he has to run that boat for a bit.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that happens in this movie where like they capture the Acheron, and then James Darcy gets put in charge of it. Because then you would just be like,
Sure.
now we're going to call it the fucking HMS British Sausage.
Yeah.
You could just change it
Yeah.
and just be like, it's our boat now, bitch.
Call it the Banger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The HMS Pie and Mash.
Should people be allowed to do that with
Chipolata?
Should people be allowed to do that with cars now?
HMS Bovril. Okay, with cars. What do you mean?
If you beat someone in a fight,
Get your car?
then you're just like,
You seize the
"Here
car
you
as
go."
a prize.
Yeah, and you get to call it, you get to rename it whatever you want.
Wouldn't people just be fighting each other all the time?
Yeah, maybe that's better than what we have right now.
Is it?
Maybe. I guess I'm just describing a Mad Max wasteland
I was about to
society.
say, it would be real might versus right situation
Sure.
would break out pretty
Also, out of me to suggest this, the man without a driver's license, why am I trying to will this into existence?
I don't know. You want all of America's bullies to get cars.
Yeah.
Then you have Blakeney's arm getting amputated. Tough stuff.
Yeah.
But
You're the
again,
bravest patient I've ever had.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I just love that it is routine.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's like Nelson, it's part of the thing why they keep talking about Nelson is Nelson didn't have one of his arms. And I think one of his legs. Like Nelson,
He got
fucking-
chewed up.
he beat Napoleon, I think, with one arm and one leg and a peg leg. And then the other arm was just this, the
No
sleeve.
hook?
Maybe he had a hook for, eating.
I'd get a hook.
I would have like a fork.
Not only did Nelson defeat Napoleon
Yes.
with one arm, but he kept the arm that had been amputated and tied it to his back.
Is that true?
So he defeated him with one arm tied behind his back.
Okay. There we go.
I'm just locked in on Ben on this one.
He
'cause
was
it's such
playing
a
it
stupid
so
joke.
straight the first half.
It's just for Ben.
And then he gave it up with a grin as the punchline came in. But I was really buying the performance at first. I kept thinking about, just because of my broken brain, Hodgman, do you remember the Steve Martin medieval barber SNL sketch?
Oh, very, very vaguely.
Theodora of York, maybe is what it's called.
He had a funny haircut.
Yes, he had a funny haircut. And the bit is that no one fucking understood medicine in medieval England.
Right.
And so he's the barber, but he's also the doctor. And people come over and he's like, time to amputate,
Right.
Throw some leeches on it. It's the same four things where someone's like, I got a headache. And
I
they're
got the sniffles. Let's amputate.
right, time to amputate. And I was thinking about this during this movie, but especially in this amputation scene, where I think they do such a good job of characterizing, and a lot of it's in Bettany's performance as well, that this guy is a very good doctor. This is the best guy you could possibly have tending to you, even at a time where so much is unknown and the technology is limited.
Because Griffin, the following scene is the brain surgery scene. And that's when all of the, the guys are gathered and they say, like, he wouldn't look at you for under 10 guineas on land. Like, we got a real guy here. He's not some surgeon.
But isn't he a vet?
If you should know, he's a naturist.
Okay.
So he's a surgeon, but also he's very into Charles Darwin and stuff, type stuff of like, cataloging animals.
It's just studying, species and
it's
evolution.
a separate hobby.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is in the books. But
He's
the
also like a polyglot. He speaks like every language.
Yeah.
Yes.
The impression that I got from his character in the movie is that he's a naturalist and he is using this opportunity to travel the world.
Yeah,
and to see shit and to catalog,
and that's how he sort of earns his keep on the ship.
But that's the core tension between him and Aubrey, and it comes up in the movie over. Is Aubrey's like, I'm here to
fuck
fucking
shit up.
king.
Yeah,
no, but it's like I'm, His Majesty's Navy, right. And Maturin's like, yeah. When can I please look at more beetles? And Aubrey's like, our orders are to kill the French. And he's like, there'll always be Frenchmen to kill, but this beetle is only here.
Yeah, but Maturin does also make the case that it's like, well, yeah, but maybe you shouldn't do this anyway. Right. Not just because I want to go see stick bugs and turtles.
No, I mean, there's a crucial moment in the movie
we're going to get our ass
where he says, like, are you being too prideful? And that's the classic, any fucking Star Trek has that too, of like, there's the one guy who can say, like, Captain, like, we all follow your rank. We'll do whatever you ask. But like, are you being, are you taking this too personally? Or
but there's a relationship between Maturin and Aubrey that is different from Kirk and Bones.
It's different from anyone else on this ship.
They have a marriage.
They have a marriage. And that's when they're playing the cello and violin together. That's their, that's their whatever, lovemaking.
Do you know what's really interesting about you making that comparison point? Mikla Saul.
All of it?
Yes. Mikla Saul of the San Francisco Chronicle at that time gave this film one of its most negative reviews because it was pretty widely acclaimed. His whole angle was on his protectiveness of the books.
Sure, right.
And he specifically was like, Saul, by removing the Maturin spy thing or not making it deeply textual.
You're effeminizing him, I think I read that review too.
Well,
and
even beyond that,
the same conclusion I think that you're getting.
This was his exact wording. Their interaction takes on a preening quality reminiscent of the interaction of the Star Trek characters 4 or 5 movies down the line.
Yeah, but I took that to mean a little bit sort of like too cutesy, like when Scotty is speaking into the Macintosh mouse and he goes, computer, like that kind of.
Is one of the funniest things that's ever happened.
I know, I agree, but I just kind of feel like.
How does he say nuclear again? What is it?
Oh, Jesus.
He says it funny.
Yeah.
And he doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. That is Voyage Home is a movie. I showed it to a friend recently.
Nuclear. It's a lot of W's. Sorry. Voyage Home.
No, I want to look it up now.
Yeah. I'll look it up while you're saying.
No, it's right. It's nuclear vessels. It says vessels.
I knew there was a W.
Right. That's just one of those where you show it to a friend who's like seen Star Trek, but maybe not it. And you're like, and they're like, and what's this one about? And I'm like, oh, there's some Klingons. Oh, there is? Well, actually, no, not really. They're on a Klingon ship. What do they have to do? They travel through time. Oh, okay. To fight Klingons, well, you have to save the whales.
Meet a lady and save some whales.
But mainly we just got to get these characters back to vibe with each other, and that's about the end of the movie. Like, I
mean, we did these on Patreon in Deepest, Darkest Pandemic, but it is fascinating to look at the box office spike on 4 because it was the one movie where they could just market it and be like, you don't need to have seen any fucking Star Trek.
Totally.
You get it. You know the cultural osmosis of these characters.
And you get a fish out of water thing.
And if they show up in San Francisco in the 80s, comedy will
semi-literally fish out of water because they pull that whale up.
This is true.
Okay, so you see, like, there's all this stuff that you have to watch the movie a million times to really care about. But like, when they start playing the violin and cello for the first time, that's the ship has been healed. You see Killick also cooking. He's making these like kind of grilled cheesy things look really nice.
They look really good.
The, like,
He's got that chafing dish.
Right. And he goes like, they go scrape, scrape, scrape. But like that to me is like basically him acknowledging like, all right, they've made up. Like there. And then the sails are fixed. The boat starts moving again.
The statue is repaired.
Blakeney, he survived the amputation. He gives in the book with the Nelson stuff, and he's like, I fought in one of these,
Order has been restored.
Right. And you see Aubrey writing a letter to his bride, fiance, Josephine, like somebody.
They both
see
have,
a little,
like,
they both got ladies.
Core ongoing love interests in the book.
Right. And you see a little picture.
Yeah.
It's not really remarked upon after that. That's when the boys come in and say, we saw the Acheron being built. We've knocked together a little model for you.
And what a knocked together model that is.
It is pretty good. They get an extra Acheron for that. Even though it was intended for Salutin Day.
That's right.
We'll drink wine for Salutin Day.
All right, we'll drink wine.
Do you guys have Salutin Day plans this year? Or do you try to just kind of play it by ear?
I've stocked up rum because I don't want to have to drink wine
What if
again.
Trump was like, we're bringing back Salutin Day? Not enough saluting in America these days.
David, the chances, and we're not recording this episode very far in advance, the chances that will happen before this episode is released, 50-50.
Just saw Master and Crowe. Why are they saluting all the time?
We're going to make Ocean's Battlefield.
This is when the film's incredibly compelling Oscar-winning actress, lady with umbrella, makes her appearance.
Woman. This movie has woman. We all ask who is woman.
That really awesome. It is a cool sequence, though, where it's like, right, they're kind of in parise. Like they're in South America. People are like paddling up and trading like mangoes.
They're off the coast of Brazil.
I would be 100%. Ben, you would do this. You would buy a monkey.
Yeah.
Right. Like some trader comes up and he's like, I would have been like, how much for the monkey?
Definitely.
I'll give you, what do you want? Like a bag of rice? Like, what have we got around here? What, I don't know what they.
He has a little vest. Right? Because monkeys have little vests.
Give him a little vest.
This might have been pre-vest for monkeys.
That's the story of the Bounty, right? The HMS Bounty is like they reach the South Pacific island and they're like, well, what the fuck are we doing on this boat? Like we are so far away from everything we know of civilization. Why should we continue to follow these horrible rules and be flogged? And that's the other reason that there were Royal Marines on the boat too, which was to prevent mutinies.
Ben sent us, there were 6 saluting days a year, at least at this time, it seems, for the Queen's birthday, to mark the restoration. So the King Charles II, so the resumption of the British monarchy. The King's birthday, to mark the King's coronation. Jesus. To mark the King's accession.
Jesus.
And then just for November the 5th, remember the 5th of November.
Gunpowder plot.
Yeah. After the trading, you have, in my opinion, the greatest sequence in any film ever shot, except for it's tied with all the other sequences in this film, right? Tied to number 1. To wives and sweethearts, may they never meet. It's the dinner. They're having dinner. Just what movie does this?
A lesser of two
dinner
evils.
Scene?
It's
My
like
Dinner with Andre.
Yeah.
True. Wait a second.
Mouse Hunt actually has, because he's a chef, there's a good amount.
That's a pretty gross dinner. There's a cockroach in it.
Have you rewatched Mouse Hunt recently?
Not recently, but I remember that scene is burned on my brain because as a kid, I was so grossed out by it.
Wow.
It's good. I mean,
it's a great sequence.
Like,
yeah, so you're right. That's kind of a nightmare.
Green
dinner.
Card too with B.B. Newirth.
Well, we definitely have seen Green Card.
Yeah, that's a really good dinner
Peter
scene.
Weir movie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, right.
I'm just saying.
Discreet charm.
But
of
yes,
the
there is something very beautiful about this dinner scene.
Just
And
beautiful
what are you
about
gonna
this
say?
movie. They had a big battle sequence. Then they play the cello and the violin. And then I feel like Hollywood would be like, all right, can there be a sword fight or something? He's like, no, shush. They're going to tell jokes at dinner.
Aubrey's going to make a Chekhov joke.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I think it also speaks to the fact that in the pace of their lives was very different than we could ever possibly imagine now, which was there's a lot of time sitting around.
They can't even binge watch.
They can't Netflix and chill at all.
They don't have a single streaming service.
No.
Wait.
They don't.
Well, no. Peacock?
No, they don't have Peacock. They don't even have Peacock with ads. They couldn't even dream of getting the supersized fan edition episodes of The Office.
Can they watch Sticktown on Hulu?
No, John, no.
It's still available.
On land, they could. Right.
I hate to tell you this. They couldn't. And this is going to scare you even more.
What's that?
They didn't have the option to read or listen to Vacation Land in any format.
Not even in paperback?
Not even in paper. Not even hardback. No, David. They didn't have hardback. They didn't have fucking medallion status.
What about the audiobook?
No. That's why I said or listen to.
But what if they open a time tunnel and John read them the book through the time tunnel?
They'd be thrilled.
Why do you think I was out on that schooner looking for a time tunnel?
This is when the youngest, because like basically it's
the
like
hold was packed with copies of Vacation Land and paperback.
Aubrey said to Blakeney, I served with Nelson, right? So then the second youngest boy, I forget his name.
Calamy.
Is like, can you please tell me about that? And I just think Crowe rocks this so hard. The way he says like the first time he spoke to me, I'll never forget his words. And he said, he like builds it up and he says, he leans across the table and he says, could I trouble you for the butter or whatever?
The salt.
Right? The salt. Yeah. Aubrey, may I trouble you for the salt? It's so funny. They all love it. I love it. I'm sitting here laughing.
I'm going to say something.
The date I'm on, she's probably like, put a blanket on. She's just got a sleeping cap. She's asleep. I'm fucking Nelson in The Simpsons watching Hank Williams, right?
I do genuinely love how long of a walk it is to Lesser of Two Evils.
It's such a long one because then he tells the serious Nelson story about like how Nelson said like the zeal of, service kept him warm on a cold night. And you see Maturin going like, give me a fucking break. And he's like, I know. It sounds absurd. You know, from another man, you would call it pitiful stuff. But like with him, I believed it.
Hey, you know what? To Nelson.
Horatio Nelson, the greatest.
Hodge,
Cheers.
I feel like you were about to say
Well,
something.
I was just going to say the lesser of two Weevils joke deserves its own conversation.
And then he's like,
that's a long walk.
Then he's like Weevils.
In the style of two Jarvises.
And Maturin's like, they're the same. They're a fucking Weevil. And
he's a friggin' dork who loves animals.
Like, he gives the Latin name for them. He's like, you have to choose.
Curlicue
Curculo, yes. Right. And then Maturin puts on his legendary cunty little glasses. Perhaps the cuntiest little glasses ever worn in a movie ever.
He originates.
He might have. They're so small. Yeah. They're like comically tiny.
Yeah.
They're so good. And he's like,
he puts them on to when he gets small.
I pick the big one. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I mean, the way, if you watch Crowe, this scene should be just studied second by second.
Yeah.
Is laughing like, because he's like, he turns to someone, and then he's like, there, I have you. You're completely dished. I should say that to you all the time.
Completely dished.
Can I not know in the service, one must always choose the lesser.
May I ask for something from our community of listeners?
Of course.
Can someone please make a supercut of this lesser of two Weevils scene with the crowd response from Bernie Mac's Def Jam?
That's exactly. Everyone also does freak out.
Cut it into when Anthony Mackie shows up in Endgame.
Yes.
You know, when he says Avengers Assemble or
But
whatever.
I want the raucous laughter when he puts the glasses on. They start tittering, but it doesn't explode until, don't you know, we must always choose the lesser of two Weevils. What is the preparation on these Weevils?
They just live in the ship's biscuits.
Yeah, they're in the biscuits.
They're pests.
Sure.
Yeah. They're
just
not
being
yucky little
served
bugs.
as food. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yes. The biscuits, I guess, are what I'm kind of fixated.
The hardtack?
Yes. Tell me about this.
It's basically flour and water and salt, and it's dehydrated and it lasts forever.
It looks aggressive.
It's like a dry.
Yeah.
I would say hardtack. I've never had hardtack. I feel like sometimes if you go to those like naval museums or whatever, they'll be like, you can try hardtack. Have you ever had hardtack?
I've never had hardtack.
It kind of makes matzah look, like very moist. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I hear it's a little more palatable when topped with some Weevils.
Oh, sure.
And then soaked in some rum.
Yeah.
I share your admiration for this scene, David. And I would say if I were Peter Weir watching Russell Crowe's performance, I would say to myself, I'm glad Richard Burton's dead.
100%. Yes.
I don't think Richard Burton.
I love Richard Burton. I guess.
Well.
I mean, I've seen many. He's good. He doesn't quite have the humor. Like
he doesn't have the humor.
Crowe is such a sweetie in this movie, but not in a way that feels like too cutesy or anything.
Do you know what else I would say if I were watching this scene be shot? I'd say, Jesus cock, that's a hot hardtack.
Hey, thanks for the callbacks.
You're welcome.
I mean, the humor is exactly right, and the warmth and the childishness.
Right.
He's a 40-year-old man, which is old at the time.
A bunch of boys.
But he's still a child.
Yeah, he's like troop leader.
All they do is fucking hang out. These boys, they got to entertain each other.
Let's be clear. All they do is fucking hang out. They don't fuck and hang out.
No.
I think
they did a lot of that. I mean, famously, Nelson died at the Battle of Trafalgar. Yeah. He was shot by a sniper.
I thought he was fucking.
Well, famously, maybe you don't know this, his last words were, Kismet, Alfred. Kismet, of course, being the word for,
love.
More fate, I would say.
Right. Fated love.
But most people think that he actually, sorry, not Alfred, Hardy. That's what I was double checking. Yeah. Hardy. He was talking to Captain Thomas Hardy. Most people think he said, kiss me, Hardy.
Oh.
And that's
why Alfred was so mad because he wanted to kiss him?
No, that the words got changed to Kismet because at the time no one wanted to acknowledge that. Of course, all these.
Well, I was thinking
very like these relationships.
Whether Weir or someone put in the picture that moment when Aubrey is writing to his female acquaintance, and they show the picture just to sort of in a backward way tell the audience, don't worry, this guy's not gay. His relationship with Maturin is not a real marriage, it's a sea marriage. But sea marriages were real, and they were often quite intimate. And again, it speaks to the isolation of the wooden world that they were in, because they were beyond. This is why there were so many superstitions, because it was so dangerous to be on board. But also, you were moving. I just read a little novel called Moby Dick.
Sure, and it's pretty good.
That novel really conveys how the crew of the Pequod, which is a much smaller crew because they don't have gunners on it. It's a whaling boat. And they'll be out for years. And they are so far beyond the reach of civilization. They're outside of the eyes of God. And they become a society that is completely different. And so all kinds of taboos on land were broken at necessity or pleasure, whether it was cannibalism or male intimacy or whatever.
Yeah.
You're sleeping in a hammock.
Yeah.
With, I don't know, 40 other guys.
Cool.
Having a jacket. This sucks.
Do you think they just had like a jacket corner?
Jack and booth.
Yeah.
I would hate to be the bottom bunk.
Yeah, they called it the head.
Or hate to be like the 24th guy in the Jack and booth that night.
Oh, sure.
Just like waiting your turn to go in the Jack and booth.
The booth is like filled to the brim.
Come on, aim out to the sea, Jesus. Don't fill it. Have a little window or something. I don't know.
Go Mitch style, run
into the shower.
Yeah.
And I think that the clear marriage that is very coded, sort of hyper traditionally, heteronormatively, husband and wife between the two of them.
Yeah.
Aubrey's the warrior and Maturin's the caring nurturer of the son and blah, blah, blah. I think it could have made if not the Chronicle reviewer, but other reviewers a little confused and uneasy. And I'm not saying that that's a reaction that I had or think, but it came into focus a little bit more, like why some of the people who love the books be like, you got to have that guy do his spycraft because otherwise he just seems like a nagging wife.
And I need to know that he docks, and when he docks, he docks.
Right, exactly. But I think it's such a beautifully portrayed relationship.
I agree.
Of friendship and something deeper than friendship.
I mean, you just invoked a great novel that you've been reading and how it...
Dune Messiah?
Moby Dick is the one specifically I was talking about, and how it kind of illustrates the way these ships become their own contained worlds where the rules of social interaction are rewritten. It reminds me of another serious, sober work of seafaring that I look to often, Muppet Treasure Island, in which they are on the ship for so long they catch cabin fever.
Yeah,
and it forces them to do
a little song,
flamenco number. Right. They all suddenly get like.
That is a film I saw in theaters.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen since.
It's a great movie.
But I do remember the cabin fever number.
I'm sorry I can't play with you on this road to two weevils that you're taking me on.
Are you going to be
left out of shipping or ship-related movies?
Ship stuff?
Cabin Boy.
Good point. Another example.
A highly realistic film.
Yeah. They capture it.
We studied it a lot.
In addition to the 12, 13-year-old officer cadets that were the midshipmen, they also had literal boys.
Well, that's the joke of Cabin Boy, much like Get a Life, is like, what if an adult man was doing this thing?
Right. You didn't see them in this, though, I don't think.
No. Sims, what were you about to ask?
Can't remember. The Acheron surprises them. It's fine. So they get sort of ambushed
surprise.
In a way.
The surprise
gets surprised. He doesn't like that. But then they pull the whole maneuver.
In French means irony.
No, it doesn't.
No.
The Acheron's like the river of woe or whatever, right? It's like from antiquity. I don't know, But then they kind of maneuver around. They do the thing where they put the little fake boat out.
They create the illusion with a miniature version, but using the lanterns.
Right.
Because even though they're separated by great distance.
Right.
Yep.
And even though they're both moving probably at about 10 miles per hour would be the top speed that they could get. 10 knots, 11 miles per hour.
They get up
they're inexorably going to catch up. The Acheron has longer guns. It can shoot farther.
Right.
And so they're going to die until Aubrey has this smart idea. What if we pretend that the poop deck is actually further back than it is?
Good shit.
That's good shit from the poop deck.
And then
that's all you can ask for in life.
Then they have him. Then they have the drop on the Acheron and they're going to get him, but then the storm happens, which I guess this is the other major action sequence of the movie. And it is awesome and super intense. It just has no gun work. It's all waves.
And also to your earlier point, this movie doesn't have a villain.
No.
Even in an abstracted way, a sense of I got to get revenge on this guy.
Which I love because that's life. It's they wouldn't really know who are on these ships. I mean, I do like that Aubrey has that moment where he's like, did I kill this guy's kid or something? Why does he hate me?
Sure.
But but he's obviously just imagining. He's I don't know.
That, to me, you're saying about people were complaining or nervous about the fact that there wasn't an antagonist. And what makes this movie special is that the antagonist is a complete mystery.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's accurate to like the idea.
There's a bit
Obviously, there's a big twist at the end.
Yeah, there's a nice little, I would say it's a little twist. It's a saucy little twist.
It's a saucy, it's a cheeky little,
zesty twist.
it's a cheeky little
It's a
twist.
cheeky little
It's a
twist.
soused head cheese of a twist.
There's this moment, which it is how soused hog's face, sir. There's a moment where Maturin says like, he fights like you, Jack, a kind of like, you're not so different moment, right? But obviously like when they're pursuing him, the storm gets them, they have to give up because they like, the fucking mast gets drawn, you know, like they have to cut the mast off because it's like turning into an anchor. Right? There's the whole sequence there.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, because all right.
Well, that's where we're at.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, the guy dies. He can't swim back.
Yeah. What's his name again?
Can't remember.
Raleigh or something?
Yeah,
He's that beautiful guy. He's one of the two guys who pop in and get the extra rations
Yes.
of rum for showing the model of the Acheron. And he is in charge of the top mizzen mast.
Yes. You see the other, it's Worley, I think is his name.
Worley
you see the other guy crying and like putting away his stuff and all that.
But so Ben, the top mizzen mast. So there are 3 masts on this boat. It's a 3-masted sailing ship, square rigged, not fore and aft, Ben. It only really gets speed when the wind is directly behind you. And their first mast is the foremast. The middle mast is the main mast. The aftmost mast is the mizzen mast. He's on the top mizzen mast. He's standing on what's called the fighting top, or maybe he's talking on the cross rails, but he's on a platform way up there, and he's trying to bring in the sail because that sail is how you move the ship. But in bad winds, that becomes dangerous, and he can't get it up, so to speak. And that's why Hallam has to climb up and help him. And fails to do so.
And he's cowardly. Does he sabotage and really actually lead to that sailor's death?
He thinks he's responsible. I guess so. I mean, he didn't he should have been up there, right?
He was scared to get up there. And you know what? It's scary.
It's fucking scary. I wouldn't go up there.
I did not
This
climb.
is how quickly I wash out of the British Navy. They're like, all right, welcome. You're the 4th son of some lord. I'm like, hello. And they're like, go up that thing. And I'm like, I'm not going up there. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Do you have like a chair I can sit in?
I mean, conceivably, if he had gotten up there, he would have been able to help. What's his name again? Worley?
Yeah, sure.
Help Worley get rid of that sail. And so the wind couldn't take it and pull the mast apart, which is what
just
ends up
snaps
happening.
the mast off. So after that is when Maturin sits down with Aubrey and is like, are you being too intense?
Can I tell Ben one more thing about the mast?
Yes.
It's a really good instinct, by the way, to deliver all this to Ben. I think it's really smart.
Thank you.
It's like you're trying to sell Ben on going on a boat, which I guess
he might be the only one of the 3 of you that I could probably press gang into coming to Maine because you've got these children and you've got this life. You've got a life too.
I do. But I'm up that way often.
Yeah.
With my wife's family.
There we go.
This is true.
Yeah.
So, I would love to come visit you. The boat's maybe the bigger ask.
You climb up, you climb up, that thing that looks like a ladder that's, so the mast is held up and held in place by stays. So 2 long lines that go from the top to the front and back, to the stern and the bow, and then shrouds, which are lines that come down to the sides. That's how it stays up in tension. And the shrouds on the sides they have ladders built into them called rat lines because you climb up like a little rat, and then you get to the fighting top, which is a platform about 2/3 up the way of the mast where the sharpshooters would stand and shoot. But to get onto that platform, you have to climb around it, and sometimes the boat is tipped over and you're basically upside down. It's really dangerous. There's a trap door to go through more safely, which is called the lubber's hole. And if you climb through that,
right?
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I like boats. I like being on the water. I'm not opposed. It's just I'm more of a sort of like everyone else do that. Where's the portable DVD player?
Right. I would say I do not like being on boats, and I do like portable.
There's
DVD.
a reason
I could make drinks for people.
Yeah, that's why Killick is his name. Yeah, that's why he's one of your favorite characters, right?
I fucking love that guy.
A very
he
specific
likes grilled
job.
cheese and soused hog's face and all that. So then Maturin calls Aubrey out. Aubrey admits, I have at this point exceeded my orders. My orders were to try to catch this thing off the coast of Brazil. We've been chasing it longer than I need to.
And they're faster too. And they're going to make it around the Cape to the Pacific.
So then he's like, all right, you know what? Killick, make a delicious map of the Galapagos Islands out of jelly or whatever the fuck. What is it? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's some kind of
boiled
aspic.
jellies.
Yeah, it's like a jelly.
And essentially it's like, we can go to the Galapagos Islands. We have a whaling fleet there. I think the French will be heading there anyway. We can try to regroup. And good news to you, Mr. Maturin. Maybe you can look at some animals.
That's all
Galapagos
he wants.
Islands.
That's why he's in the business.
There's penguins and shit.
This is alluded to in the movie, but I'll ask Ben, do you know why whaling ships and ships of the line and warships love to go to the Galapagos?
Something to do with the stream?
Well, you could get fresh water there for sure. You could reprovision there.
Or I guess I'm saying the stream of the ocean.
No, they wanted to go there's a specific reason, which is tortoises. Tortoises were good food on these ships.
Oh, really? Sure.
Yeah, because you could take a bunch of tortoises off an island.
I guess they don't spoil.
They don't spoil, and they don't drink water, and they don't eat.
Okay.
And so unlike that goat and cow you have on board for milk, you saw that in the table setting in the beginning, you could take a stack of tortoises and put them down there and just kill them as you went.
And they're kind of
less
fun.
that they taste
they're
good.
Like funny.
More that they're just less annoying to.
I personally
they didn't
think
eat up your resources.
Yeah.
I personally think that 100-year-old tortoises taste great, but that's just kind of my taste, and I think I should be allowed to eat as many as I want.
Well, you love turtle soup. That's why you're constantly
it's
trying
nasty.
to. Yeah.
But no, it's true. You're right. I mean,
that's why the whaling fleet would go by there.
They were not ecologically conscious.
And then the privateers were going after the whaling fleet because they were packed up with very, very valuable sperm.
So this is the moment. I already alluded to it. They're about Maturin is dolled up.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his house coat.
Yeah.
He's got his straw hat. He's got his little
Have
cravat,
you ever dressed like that for Halloween?
No, I probably should, although I think I might just be, escorted to an insane asylum.
Weirdly, David does dress like that for sleep. Those are his versions of pajamas.
The burns. I want to see those chops,
burns.
baby.
And they pick up some guys, right, who are who have information, right? Like
they're whalers.
Right.
They're the
saw the
survivors of a
Acheron.
whaling ship that was captured by the Acheron, the Albatross.
And Jack's like, we gotta fucking go. Let's go get it. And they have this fight, which I really like because Maturin's sort of right of you're too crazy. You're too obsessed with the Acheron and we don't need to do this. But Maturin's also totally selfishly I want to stay on the Galapagos Islands. I want to look at penguins and stuff. And it's very emotional and well played. It is Maturin he does kind of act like his wife is yelling at him. It is kind of the vibe where he's like, duty, please, we must. And so but he does get to, right. That's when Blakeney gets him the beetle. He's like, if nothing else, I found a cool beetle. Can we catalog the beetle?
And that's sort of the beginning of their bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like all the shots where it's the perspective of the telescope.
Yes.
And seeing the different animals and the discovery of the iguana that can swim, the way that all just plays out, basically alluding to evolution.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Right. And the iguanas, the swimming iguana, where he's like, they don't swim. All these fucking iguanas.
I think it's one of the few non-documentary films to ever shoot at the Galapagos.
Indeed, they shot at the Galapagos, which have a very weird terrain.
Well, David, I wouldn't know because I've only ever seen it in the movies.
Okay.
And this is oh yeah, remember when the movies used to take you places?
Yeah, it's true. Well, maybe we should go.
Wait, you can't come to Maine and now you're pitching a Galapagos expedition?
Well, we can go to Maine, get on your boat, sail to the Galapagos. Where are they? You got to go all the way around America.
Look, you're the captain. Right? I get it. Requirements of the service. It's just,
but then we have the Jonah plot, right? Then their wind is gone. It's hot. They're not moving. They can't get into action, and the boys start being mean to Hallam because they consider him he sort of cursed the ship.
Well, and also he may or may not have been directly responsible for the death of Worley, and it's Worley's best friend who particularly takes a hatred to Hallam and refuses to salute him.
And at one point, Aubrey punishes someone who's not nice to Hallam, right?
It's that guy. He doesn't salute him. In fact, he kind of checks him.
As far as where they're at, the storm was around the Horn.
Yes, they've gone around South America. They're on the other side.
So they really are. They are now on the other side.
Far side of the world.
Because the Galapagos Islands are off the coast of Ecuador, although by off the coast, I mean hundreds of miles off the coast of Ecuador. There's this great fight that he has with Maturin. I love their fights. Where Aubrey's like, I have to preserve against a mutiny. And Maturin's like, these fucking guys are in this wooden prison. They've been pressed against their homes. And he's like, you can talk to me that way, but I really hate it when you talk about the service that way. Like Aubrey's like, I really like being in the Navy. Yeah. I know you think it sucks and just want to look at birds, but like it does rock. And
they're both right and they're both wrong.
Yes.
Because he is absolutely chasing the Acheron for pride.
Men must be governed. Often not well, I admit, but like they must be governed. And Maturin's like, that's what every sort of, dictator says. It's a great fight. I just love that the movie has room for all of this.
Yeah.
The Jonah subplot like is the first thing you would be told to lose. I feel like you're telling me the movie stops 2/3 of the way, like the action stops, and we just focus on like a side character having like a psychodrama, basically. Like,
yeah, it becomes a psychological thriller.
And it ends like so perfectly and so sadly with him just like, does he grab a cannonball to go down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just holds it.
He's
all
like,
the
you've
way
always
down.
been nice to me anyway.
I find it emotionally affecting that things sucked so hard in this time that basically you would learn to become the best doctor alive in order to get on a boat in the hopes that like once a year,
right,
they'd let you go look at lizards for 2 hours.
Yeah, man.
And the fact that he does become this good of a doctor and clearly takes so much pride in it. I mean, who knows the fucking order of
No, he's good.
study.
He's
But
good.
I'm saying the naturist thing feels like his real driving
That's his passion.
passion.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
But me invoking the fucking SNL sketch earlier, it was the thing in the amputation scene is without acting like metatextual or like he's a fucking time traveler. I think Bettany somehow portrays the delicacy of like looking at this kid and being like, it sucks that this is the only way I can do this. It sucks that all I can offer you is a stick to bite on. I'm kind of the best there is, and none of these options are great. Yeah. This is always going to hurt. And if I see like 20 of my men injured, I might only save 3 of them. And that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
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 Then Jonah dies. Okay. Time for action to begin again, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. Maturin gets shot.
Yeah.
By a guy trying to shoot an albatross.
An accident. Truly.
And
I hope he did eventually shoot that albatross and put it around his neck.
It's kind of a Dick Cheney situation, right? Where he's
Yes.
like, fuck, I didn't mean to shoot you.
It's embarrassing. And worst of all, a little bit of shirt got stuck in the wound.
That's the fucked up part. There's this great moment when Aubrey's like, because they spot the Acheron, they could try to catch it. And Aubrey makes the decision like, no, we're going to stay here. We have to take him to the stable ground to do the surgery. But he's staring at the cello. Like there's a shot where he just looks at the cello standing there. It's like he can't operate without Maturin. Like he knows like I am not going to survive if he dies. Like essentially, like I need my other half. I need my sort of better temper, all that stuff.
And I would argue that I don't think this is his primary motivation, but the crew kind of also need a doctor too.
Well, this is the thing because the other guy, the assistant, is basically like, yeah, I'm pretty good at operating. I do barf at the sight of open wounds and stuff. And
the fact that Maturin has
pretty shaky hands.
Essentially, you see him watching a YouTube about how to perform surgery.
Maturin knows that the only way
to remove bullets with shirt.
With shirt. Maturin knows the only way he's going to survive is for him to do the procedure himself, and no one fights him on it. The fact that he says it and everyone's like, yeah, you're right.
This is I can't believe Bettany wasn't Oscar nominated thing. Yeah. Where it's like, you're telling me in the middle of the movie, he does surgery on himself with a mirror.
Right.
But
as pointed out, this was a weird supporting actor.
It was. Like the Oscars were also just dumber back then. I feel like they're more lenient to newer actors and performing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But good news. What does this mean, John?
Oh, he gets to go to the Galapagos.
Yeah, they're on the fucking islands.
He gives them the gift. I mean, that's a really beautiful scene of Crowe fucking trying to act like he's not a softie and being like, no, we were going to stop here anyway. I didn't do this for you.
Right.
I just chose to tell them.
I didn't actually want to capture that boat.
Bring you out in a fucking stretcher and walk you around one time.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all
Do you
normal.
think that Aubrey got a little pissed off like 3 days after they stopped chasing the Acheron? And he just took a bullet out of his own belly that he's getting up and walking around all the time. Maybe I'd be like, okay, maybe we should get back on the ship.
I wouldn't have done this whole ceremony if
No, but
I thought you were injured.
It's the weird fate of it though, because that's how he finds the Acheron.
Right.
Because he's on the Galapagos.
That's such an amazing.
He's measuring tortoises and he has this like box that he looks into the ocean with, right? Like his sort of like spy box that he can use to look at fish and shit. I've got the time code. It's an hour 40. Like, what Fox subordinate? Rothman, I assume, is watching again, like me, like
Thrilled.
Nelson watching it. But like,
Rothman's
other
out there
execs
going,
are
can
like,
we stretch it out? Can we make it?
other execs are like, do we need the iguana measuring sequence? Like,
No.
is there not a boat for them to fight?
Well, I mean, and
I hear that Jack Sparrow like fences with every member of the cast in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. And also, like, well, certainly, it's a slow burn, but it's going to lead, much like the Weevil's walk, into an awesome showdown with him and the other captain. No, he boards the ship. The guy's dead.
But he's not.
Oh, sure.
But yes, no, you're right. I mean, like, the final sequence is very intense and rocks in a theater and all that, but like, it is not right. Aha! Like, Captain Frenchman, and then like a big sword fight, like across the deck of a boat or whatever, all that stuff.
I mean, I'll just say this real quick about, and revisiting Peter Weir movies.
One more thing.
Oh, yeah.
In the Galapagos, they find the Acheron. What else do they find, John? A stick insect.
Oh, yeah.
Which gives Aubrey the idea to disguise his boat. And that's how they capture the Acheron.
That's how they get him.
See, it all, like, you need this. This is a breathing organism. This ship, all these people with these different needs and interests.
It's a wooden world. It's not a prison. It's a world.
If he wasn't listening to all of them, he wouldn't be making like the evolved decisions.
Because they're privateers and they're greedy. Because they're not just engaging with other, naval ships. They're also going after private citizens.
100%. They'll raid anything that looks like a prize.
Right. One of the things I've noticed rewatching some of these weird movies and seeing some of them for the first time, that he's Tom Rothman is like, more Galapagos, please, or whatever.
Right.
But Peter Weir is so patient as a director
in all his films.
Yeah. It's just, and there are definitely moments in Witness, certainly in Hanging Rock, where you're just like, oh yeah, I guess nothing's going to happen.
Right.
And then all of a sudden something will happen.
And you're involved because he's
and again, the beauty of it is that he's not sitting there and all of a sudden the Acheron comes around the corner and it's huge.
Sure.
He sees it and it's tiny, but it's close enough.
And that he can go into battle hare mode.
That's right.
Would you say?
Look at that.
Let the locks flow.
You bring up the patience. It is one of those things that I often think about, and we're choosing to kind of just like step away, right? And even that his last film becomes an independent film and one where he needs foreign financing. This is the last time he works with the studios. I think he just sort of saw like, they're not going to let me do this anymore. Even if it's not, I'm making $100 million epic, which he was one of these guys who liked being able to level up and work with those resources. It's also just like, no one lets studio films have this kind of patience anymore. And is a patience that runs across his small, intimate dramas to his giant epics.
And maybe one of the reasons that people don't think about, Peter Weir all the time, or like the Peter Weir style movie is, and this is not a discredit to his talents, but he wasn't all that uncommon in commercial filmmaking at the time.
Sure.
Like the opening sequence of, you have covered Green Card by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
But like that opening sequence with the kid drumming in the subway.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the plot.
Yeah.
It's just a creation of a mood and a world.
Mm-hmm.
He does it in this movie too, where it's just like little building moments of like, here's what life is like in little tiny 5 to 7 second vignettes.
And
we used to see that kind of stuff in movies all the time.
He was
always,
like,
there would just be a sequence of like, here's New York City. Here's a guy hailing a cab.
I mean, it's
here's
opening a dog day.
Exactly.
But right. And now it's the Netflix thing of like, every movie has to open with a helicopter overhead shot of the city and then immediately into either an action sequence or some kind of big comedic set piece or the beginning of the plot. They have all this fucking data that's like, if something huge doesn't happen within the first 90 seconds, everyone's going to flip away. And even in theaters where it's not like the risk is someone walking out of the fucking theater is the thing they're concerned about, you do feel like that concern dictating the edits of these things. Even if it's just inevitably this thing's going to go on to fucking streaming. You saying he's not, was he less unique in the moment than it feels like he was now?
I think he's a master of that.
I think also
but I also think it was not unusual.
No, his uniqueness was his consistency, I would say.
Yeah.
And also the versatility of genre, of size, of tone.
Yeah.
There are very few people who I think made this transition into the studio system and just basically stayed true to their standards and their ethos and didn't slip. Because you compare it to like Wolfgang Petersen, who like goes from making like his very serious movies to making like top level popcorn to then making shitty popcorn. Like the arc from like Das Boot to Perfect Storm to Poseidon is what often happens to these guys. At some point, they're just fucking picking up the checks.
Yeah, we maybe saw it coming and got out of the way. But
Maybe.
to tie it back to a moment to Master and Commander, a movie that I believe David likes.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I think that what's one of the things that's very beautiful about it is that the natural patient pace of a Peter Weir movie marries so quickly with the necessary patient pace of sailing a ship in the Napoleonic era.
But
Like it has a completely different mood than we would think.
What happens when they engage in battle?
Shit pops off.
It's what I like. The craziest part of all this, it's like so much of your life is what you're talking about is the careful, like how do we maneuver? And then it's like when we're next to them, everyone has to go insane.
Right.
You see Killick going insane, like during the battle. Like there's one of the other chefs is like beating someone up with a pot. Like it's like hitting someone over the head with a pot. Obviously, I already mentioned, you see Blakeney, little 12-year-old Blakeney just boarding with a gun.
Well, isn't his mission to
first he's
release
in charge
the whalers?
Yeah, but first
that's Callum, the other one.
Oh, sorry.
No, first he's in charge of the boat. Remember, he's like, oh, I don't get to be in the boarding party. And he's like, no, you're going to be like in charge of the surprise because which is an honor. But then there's that moment where they're so close and they both start pointing, like both boats are pointing the cannon right at each other. And Blakeney's like, we have to fire first. Like, they're going to blow a hole in us.
He's a good commander of the surprise.
And then he says, arm yourself. We must board them. He's a little child. And you see Maturin like grab a gun and cock it. And I'm watching it right now. It's so exciting.
And I love that Blakeney says that because A, he appreciates that it's necessary because he's smart.
Yes.
But B, he gets what he wants to do anyway. He's like, you know what? I am going to fucking board that boat.
The assistant doctor guy, the cowardy, he's not a coward, but the grossed out doc, he has that moment where he stops a cannon from being fired by putting his hand in between the fuse and the trigger.
Oh, and it hurts.
That's so
That's
good.
only
and it,
one
he's like
almost slapsticky moment.
It's
where he's
so
like,
good.
Yeah.
Maturin picks up a sword and starts fucking with it. It's so exciting. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened. Like I said, it's tied with all the other scenes for greatest scene in a movie.
But yeah, Calamy is tasked with going and rescuing
getting the other whalers out of
members of the Albatross.
Because that will put the odds in their favor.
Right. It gets more guys on their side. And that's when it's over. And then Aubrey sees the surgeon, who is actually the captain, pretending to be the surgeon, operating on the captain, who's probably just some dead guy they put a coat on. And he says, he told me to give you this sword. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens.
And it's great. You don't know the twist for a while, obviously. There's what's his pants dies, the sweet boy.
Calamy dies.
And he doesn't sew through the nose for him because he's asked for that. Or remember, he asked Blakeney, or Blakeney asked him earlier.
They get sewn up in their own hammocks.
Also, the guy who looks like a blobfish dies. Love that guy so much. The master.
Oh, yeah.
He gets shot
Alan,
in the head. Yeah.
The master of sail.
Love him. It's great. It's just, just the right balance of like triumph and misery, right? Like it's sort of like, this is life at sea. They bury everyone. They say their names. They sing a little song, right? All that stuff. Would you want to be buried at sea?
No.
Okay, fine. He gives James Darcy. Yes. Okay, great.
Really?
Ben, break the tie.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're deciding for all of us?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. We all have to do it.
We're giving Ben power of attorney.
That he gives James Darcy the Acheron.
Right.
He's like, take that to Portsmouth.
Says, Jarvis, take the Acheron to Valparaiso.
And then we have the moment I already freaked out about, which is Aubrey realizes like, oh shit, no, the captain's still on the ship.
Right.
We have to go get them.
Mm-hmm.
We can't stay at the Galapagos. Sorry.
Once again.
Your bird's flightless, not going anywhere.
Funny line.
Right. $1 billion gross, right?
Yeah.
The greatest thing that's ever happened. And then they fucking start playing their song.
Then they jam out.
Because what else are they going to do while they're going there? It's going to take time.
I was going to make a joke that the mid-credit tease was that they're building a white Maturin. And then I remember that in the section where he's been shot, he basically does become
go
white
kind
Maturin.
of white vision.
He gets gray T mode. Yeah.
That's funny.
Thank you.
David, how do you feel about this movie?
It's my favorite movie ever. I love to watch it. I try not to watch it too much because I do, as with all my favorite movies, I try to kind of like let it be special every time.
Yeah.
So it's like every year or so.
How many times do you think you've seen it? Like 20?
Sure. 15, 20.
Yeah.
Right? Like a good amount.
You don't ever put it into an Assassin's Creed style rotation.
I don't think I do that. That's a Ben thing.
I was hearing about
in
that.
college. I did that. In college, I would have the movies to fall asleep to a little bit more. But I don't really
try
do
to
that.
cycle through them. I don't know if you do this as well. It sounds like you didn't with this, but in the same way that I like held off on rewatching this because I was like, I should make it fresh for.
Oh,
when
I'll
we
do
the
that
episode.
too. Right? Yeah.
There are certain movies I look at where I'm like, I'd love to watch that, but there's a good chance we cover that in the next 2 years.
I definitely do that, Griffin.
And it would be nice to make that feel a little more special.
I'm never going to be.
I arrived as Griffin finished watching the movie.
Look, my memory at this point,
you're fresh.
I'm fucking Dory.
You usually try to do it
Shit
pretty
seeps
soon.
out of my brain so quickly,
right?
That I feel like the specificity of thought, I need to be as close to of just finishing the movie as I can.
Now, we mentioned the box office. We'll play the game in a second.
Can I ask you a question before the box office game? I know you're going somewhere.
No,
but
I'm going to the box office
and you're
game.
leading and you're captaining the ship. So I don't want to take us off.
No,
course
what's
to
your
go
question?
To my Galapagos Islands. The overall question is, what's the new thing you've seen in it since you've seen it so many times? And then the prompt might be like, how does this depiction of war compare to the depiction of war in Gallipoli?
That's interesting. It's got the similar thing in Gallipoli of it's about like a brotherhood of man a little bit, right?
And then you don't really know or see your enemy.
But like, right. But in Gallipoli, I feel like it's a little bit more like, watching it, if you have even the barest understanding of history, like these boys have no idea what they are in for. Right. They have been drafted into a war that is pointless. They are being drafted into a, battle that is the famously worst thing that anyone ever tried in World War I, basically.
Right.
Like one of the biggest disasters.
Right.
So you kind of have this kind of like innocence is dying here. I don't find that with Master and Commander at all.
No,
You're
not
more
at
like,
all. I mean,
this is like, it's not maybe something to be proud of, but like this is part of the lifeblood of this, of this empire, right? It's like these people.
I mean, obviously World War I was a particularly modern war in a way that people didn't understand even when they were joining it because of the kinds of guns they were using. Basically, it was just much more fatal war, even though the brutality of war is depicted to a degree in this movie as well. But it's also like as you mentioned, the triumph is there too. Right. So it's kind of it's a romantic film when it comes to this.
Hugely romantic.
And Maturin is right. There is no reason to necessarily go after the Acheron after it.
No, what? This is not some movie about like. I mean, he gives the great speech where he's like, "Do you want Napoleon to be your king?" Like, where they're all fired up about it. And it's like, yeah, sure. In the broad sense, Britain didn't want to lose to France.
Yeah, but this isn't even a French
on this
naval ship. This is they're contractors.
Yeah,
they're not going to invade. They're not going to invade England. The Acheron's not going to invade England, nor are they going to continue hunting for the surprise necessarily, unless they disguise themselves.
Hodge, I got a question for you. Turnabout is fair play. I know you've done a great job of explaining and selling Ben on the specifics of life on the seas and boating.
Yeah.
And obviously your experiences with boating are different than what is depicted in this film. Are there specific things in this movie that you feel like, wow, this gets it right in a way I haven't seen before?
I mean, no way a truly able seaman.
Not even like on technical details,
no,
but like on feelings and experiential and
I mean, I think that it is profoundly creepy to be sleeping on a boat that makes no motor noise.
This is a reason I don't trust boats.
That I think it captures very well. I mean, the depiction of what you do in order to make a boat like this go is, to the best of my understanding, experience and reading, very accurate. I think that's very cool because it required a lot of intelligence and ingenuity and that sort of thing. That thing where they have to escape into the fog and they don't have enough wind, so they get out the boats and they pull.
You've been there?
That was how you would but that is how you would maneuver one of those boats. Like particularly a square rigged boat.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I'll tell you later.
I'm getting so hungry, and we got to play the box.
I understand. But thank you for letting me talk a little bit about it.
But if I may,
please,
we've reached the end of our discussion of this film.
Oh yes. Oh Jesus! Right. I forgot I have a piece of paper
to honor. It appropriately. Safe and sound at home again. Let the waters roar, Jack.
Wow.
Safe and sound at home again. Let the waters roar, Jack. Long we've tossed on the rolling main. Now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate. Okay. Take it solo, David.
Me? No, I don't. No.
It's got your name all over it.
I don't even
That was
know
pretty
this
good,
part.
but we were not prepped for that. There was no editing. We just jumped into it.
Did they say this other part? I don't remember this
They
other
do.
part.
Oh, yeah. No, it goes
We
on
have
and on.
worked the self-same gun.
Quarter deck division, sponger I and loader you through the whole commission. Long we've tossed on the rolling main. Now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate.
Did you look this up? This is it's called "Don't Forget Your Old Shipmate." This naval song.
Do you know what makes Ben best in the biz?
I mean everything, but
What's
go
that?
ahead.
99 out of 100 producers would have just texted that to us, and Ben printed it out,
printed it
folded
out.
it
And I think it
cleanly.
mattered. I think that we locked in right away.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it meant
Do you
something.
think it's mean when they're a little mean about the nice singing voice of Hollum?
Yeah, I think it's mean when they're mean.
I feel like it's a little mean. I mean, they're not like that mean, but they're kind of like.
There's a moment before he sings. So this is when he joins in on Farewell and Adieu, You Old Spanish Ladies.
And they go,
Yes.
"You're a little pitchy dog."
Yeah, that's but right before that, the crew is singing. Before he joins in,
Mhm.
you see him sort of gamely tapping his hand
He's
to the
trying to
beat, and he's
locate the
really
beat.
offbeat,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
just so touching.
he
and
just
Yeah.
Anyway,
all of the characters
Thank
are
you,
real
Ben.
people.
Thanks
and it's
for-
beautifully
Oh,
done.
no,
That
playing
was
along
great.
with
Thank
that
you
silly
very
music.
much.
Griffin.
Yeah, of course.
An extra ration of grog for Ben.
Yeah.
It's November 14th, 2003.
Yes.
Master Commander is opening to $25 million, number 2 at the box
Now,
office.
I do know what is number one
I'm
because
sure you do.
the Wikipedia entry, there was a sub-entry of accolades and awards received by Master and Commander. I was just trying to look up the award situation. In the opening paragraph, it says the movie was considered a disappointment, coming in number 2 behind Elf. Is this the second weekend of Elf?
How much has Elf dropped from his first weekend?
It went up, did it not?
It did not go up.
Okay.
At least according to the numbers, which everything feels a little unreliable.
I
right
remember
now.
it having a minuscule, well, I remembered it going up, but it's
It
like
goes up in its fourth.
There we
weekend.
go. I knew it,
It
went
has
up.
dropped 15%.
Yeah, crazy.
So Elf is number 1 at the box office with 26 mil. Master and Commander right behind it at 25 mil. Right behind that is
Mhm.
a movie that has dropped drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is a movie we've covered on this show.
It's dropped drastically.
It opened against Elf.
Yeah.
Elf has now taken number 1. It has dropped to number 3. It opened number 1. It is an action sci-fi sequel.
Oh, it's the Matrix
Exactly.
Revolutions.
Yes. Whereas Reloaded had done so
Yeah.
well. Revolutions opens big, but drops out very fast.
Elf was so fucking huge. There's something that feels representative of it being like the thing that Master and Commander has to open against. And that was just like, we got Russell Crowe doing Gladiator on a boat. Isn't that like automatic 40 million opening weekend, like adult fucking entertainment? And it came in soft at the same time that Elf came in so much hotter than anyone was predicting.
I'll say I first watched Master and Commander with our son.
Mhm.
I don't know if he remembers ever seeing the movie,
Mhm.
but our son and my wife, who's a whole human being in her own right,
Mhm.
will watch Elf every day together if they are allowed to.
Yeah. I mean, Elf is I watch it every year movie. It has stood the test of time.
Every day, I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the only, I would argue it's the last holiday film that basically has been canonized.
Yes,
Interesting.
absolutely. It's
right?
good. It's good.
Yeah, it's an excellent movie. And now Jon Favreau's bringing us The Mandalorian and Grogu.
And I cannot wait to meet those two guys.
Yep.
Number 3 is Matrix Revolutions. Number 4 is a Disney animated film. I believe you've never seen it.
2003.
Oh, it's Brother Bear.
Brother Bear.
It's one of only 2 I haven't seen. Brother Bear and Wish.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, and as we may return to this box office game one day, is a film we will cover. It is new this week. It is opening to $9 million, which is not good. It is a fun movie.
It's Looney Tunes Back in Action. I could have
Is
gotten it with
this-
fewer clues.
Is this where to put this movie? It feels like a summer, not a November.
yeah.
I guess they're hoping for a Thanksgiving family thing, but like it
Yeah.
just kind of feels like everyone's like, we'll just see Elf.
Right. I think they had no idea Elf was going to be that big.
No.
It is crazy that it's also Elf was New Line and this is Warner Brothers. Like they opened against themselves. I just think the expectations for Elf were really low, where it was like, if that movie makes $50 million, we're going to be thrilled. And instead it opened to 40 and then had like those tight spandex legs. Because Elf ends up at like 170, 180.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they fucked up on the release of this, but it also, like, Warner Brothers treated that movie with resentment. Well, we will cover it.
Right. Master and Commander had a Jonah on board. Let's just say
yes, truly.
It was it's
Joe
so
Dante,
charmed, but it is so cursed at the
Joe
same
Dante
time.
has talked about this, where like he would get into studio like note meetings on the Looney Tunes movie, and they'd be like, "Now Bugs says this line, 'What's up, Doc?' What does that mean? Does he need to say that?"
Oh boy.
Where he was like getting noted by people who didn't understand why they were even bothering to
Nothing
make a
is
Looney
better
Tunes
for
movie.
creativity than people justifying their jobs.
The movie is kind of about that in a lot of ways. It's like a movie of like development execs being like, does this suck? Now, do we fucking hate the Looney Tunes?
Now I will never see it.
No, it's really good. It's him.
I will not see
clear.
a movie about movies ever again.
It is a movie made...
Sentimental Value was the one exception.
It is a movie made with contempt for an industry that is overthinking everything and not understanding the value of these characters.
I'm officially in my weird dad phase. If it's not about sleeper trains,
sure, we hear you.
I think you would love Back in Action. They go to Area 51, and it's Joan Cusack, and she has all the great robots on the box.
Number 6 of the box office is Love Actually,
a movie that is a war crime.
It's not good, but
that is a movie that our daughter makes us watch every Christmas.
Yeah, horrible
She
every
has
time.
extremely good taste in movies and television.
That is emotional abuse.
But she really loves that movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people love that movie.
A lot of people love that movie. A lot of people voted for Trump. Not accusing your daughter of voting for Trump.
Oh no, she's a MAGA.
Oh sure,
MAGA and Maha.
Okay.
Thank God.
Number 7 of the box office is Scary Movie 3, which has made $102 million.
Was a big hit.
Yep. Number 8 is the definitely not embarrassing movie Radio.
No.
Whoa.
Everyone walked out of that with their heads held high.
Number 9 is new this week as the Tupac Resurrection movie, which is a sort of like
it was an MTV
documentary.
Yeah.
Right. You know, kind of.
I think briefly had the highest grossing documentary crown or was close to it. And then obviously the next year, Fahrenheit 9/11 comes out.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah.
He's just went to the bathroom. And
when he comes back from the bathroom, I'm going to teach him how to anchor.
Number 10 of the box office.
He's about to anchor in that toilet.
Yeah, that's right.
Is Mystic River.
He might do it wrong. Mystic River. I never saw it.
What's it up to at this point?
Film, which has made $45 million on its way to 90.
Yeah.
So
I hear that's a real
very
chuckle
long
of a
run.
film.
Yeah, it's light.
Well, the thing about it is they save everything for the blooper reel, but they are great. Oh my God. All those scenes are so funny. Is that my daughter in there? Oh, I fell over. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the box office. We will, I guess, do this again one day when we do Joe Dante. Because right, that's
we got to do it.
I'm about to get keel hauled by David, but I just got to say this one thing.
Please.
I'm done, so you guys can just chat.
I have a better answer for you vis-a-vis my experience on the seas.
Sure.
And what I think that this movie captures, and I think is part of what the movie is all about, is the powerlessness, literal and figurative, of being on a sailing vessel.
Totally right. You have some control, but you have a lot of no control.
And how much the control is overcompensated in uniform and in ritual and in everything else, because they know that it will fall apart if there isn't discipline, right? But also you are at the mercy of truly unseen forces, the wind.
Yeah.
And if someone else has the wind advantage, they're going to win the battle. And if it dies, you're becalmed, and it's this collision of a sense of control and complete lack of control. It is very tense, even if there isn't a love interest or an antagonist, traditional antagonist.
That is an excellent point, beautifully expressed, and you have finally given me words to explain why I don't like being on a boat. You just described exactly why I don't like it. Powerful and powerless, in that you have a bunch of fucking responsibilities and rituals to maintain, which to me sounds like a nightmare. And also, you don't ultimately have that much power.
If you ever wanted, and Ben, I'm inviting you as well.
Yeah.
The wonderful comedic actor and improviser and just straight up great actor, Mark Evan Jackson. He also has the same bug.
Oh, sure. The boating bug.
The boating bug. And he is a partner in another 120-year-old wooden sailing schooner called the Grace Bailey.
Wow.
Jesse Thorne and I are going aboard in June for 4 nights to lead a Judge John Hodgman sailing cruise.
Truly.
It's, I think, sold out, but
okay.
But the Grace Bailey is an amazing experience.
This is interesting.
To sail on. Mark is on it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll be going back on it eventually.
I'm not refusing the experience,
it's
to be clear.
Really, really great. And, I would invite David If you want some Master and Commander type experience, this would be a really fun experience. The Grace Bailey, Sail Grace Bailey.
Yeah.
Now, Ben, here's what you do. What's that?
Do they have cannons?
They do not have cannons.
I'll still go though.
But you'll like this because these schooners, particularly the Mary Day, was purpose built for passenger travel in the 60s. But the Grace Bailey and 5 or 6 other ones, they date back to the late 19th century when schooners were the tractor trailers of the East Coast. There were no roads, there were no railroads. So you wanted cargo moved around. You would fill up a schooner and move it along the coast, up and down, et cetera. So it'd carry tar, rum, coal, paperback copies of Vacationland or whatever. And if you wanted to stop the schooner, here's what you do. Any kind of boat. First of all, you drop the lead to see what the quality of the seabed is. Then you drop the anchor, right? And if you know that it's 5 fathoms deep, for example, you're going to want to let out at least 3 times and up to 7 times that amount of what's called anchor rode. The closest to the anchor, it's all heavy chain because it's not the anchor that keeps you down. It's the chain.
I love it.
But you got to pay it out longer because there are tides.
Because if it was too short, it would potentially, it would break. There would be too much tension.
You put the anchor down and then you're laying the chain down along the seabed for a length of time. And it's that weight that keeps you. If you were just holding onto the anchor, it'd pull right out.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love when you see, there's like one in Long Island City. There's a huge anchor, but then there's also the chain with it, which is so impressive. It's fucking massive.
Yes.
And that's how you do it, Ben.
So cool.
What's a coxswain?
Coxswain sits when you're, it's a rowing thing. That's for the coxswain is the little guy who sits at the front of the boat.
So I could be a coxswain,
yes, you
right?
Could. You are the actual perfect build for a coxswain. You have to be really loud. You have to yell.
Famously, I can't do that.
Boyd, I think you can do it.
Billy Boyd,
he's the coxswain.
Is the coxswain.
That makes sense.
It's also the steersman of the boat, and like a coxswain in when you're rowing, when you're what is it, crew? You know what I mean? They usually choose little, smaller people to sit in the back of the boat and call out the strokes. That's what a coxswain is in a rowing crew.
And stuff.
And similarly, in Napoleonic War times, you wanted a smaller coxswain to steer the boat, and that's why they had hobbits do it.
Got it. Okay, so I'll be your coxswain sometime.
I definitely think the worst job is the crank guys.
Well, the worst job is peg boy, but we're not even going to get into that. It's kind of, there's not even an argument there.
Ben, the other way they would move the boat if they didn't have wind, you're going to love this. They had a smaller anchor and they would put it in one of their side boats and they would row it way out in front of the ship. And then they would drop that anchor way out in front of the ship. And then the ship, those crank boys would crank the capstan around and pull the ship to that anchor. That was another way you would move if you had no wind.
Sure. Which I think at one point have to do that at the first battle scene.
Yeah, they have the boats tow it. But in this case, it would be like throwing a grappling hook and then pulling yourself along.
Right.
Or they would tie themselves to a tree and then pull themselves up if they were near land or whatever.
So cool.
You understand how fore and aft sails work?
What?
Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Hodgman, anything you want to plug?
Well, the fore and aft sail is something I'd like to plug. It's an incredible means of propulsion that uses the Bernoulli principle of differentiating air vacuum. Essentially, it works like an airfoil.
Mm-hmm.
So never mind.
Also, I would recommend plugging any leaks in the hull of your ship.
There you go.
There we go.
I'll tell you what, I will plug my Substack, hodgman.substack.com.
We'll look at that.
Because you get news and little musings from me, but you also get me reading Moby Dick aloud in a terrible Maine accent, chapter by chapter. I've been going, I'm only about halfway through, so the good stuff is yet to come.
And obviously, I don't want to get people's hopes up too high for something that may never happen. But if, for example, Vacationland ever were released in paperback, I assume that Substack is somewhere where it might be announced.
Yeah, you would learn about that probably at hodgman.substack.com.
Great.
But you also get to listen to me read Moby Dick aloud in a terrible Maine accent. It's not a joke.
Perfect.
It's a long project that I enjoy.
Tune in next week for The Way Back. We're finishing Peter Weir with our buddy Alex Ross Perry, who comes in calm, civil, balanced.
I remember that being a fun episode, but can't say I remember what happened.
I can't remember anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we probably litigate a bunch of stuff with Alex because, that's usually how it goes.
Right. He explains how there only ever been 2 good movies in history.
And they're both Super Mario Galaxy.
God, he was coming in hot with those galaxies.
He really was I think he was trying a little hard, but.
No, I think it was natural. It was easy and organic. Anyway, tune in for that next week. And as always, what's the number one boat fact that you didn't get to share that you came in locked and loaded with today, John?
Talked about kedging. I talk about anchoring.
Kedging is when you get really close to steering the ship, but you.
That's right.
Cool.
It's there's a nautical term called gooning.
Yeah, sure.
And glazing.
Yeah.
And only the ablest of seamen are capable of all 3.
Yeah. And it creates some more semen in the process.
Yep, that's how it happens.
That's how it happens.
Yeah.
And that's how we end our episode.
Yep.